How's everybody doing out there? So I got to actually do some updates on the system because I'm not Jimmy. Should have been paying more attention when I logged on. So welcome to tonight's show. Hawaii, 'cause I'd rather be anywhere than where I am. So beautiful night, beautiful night. We got blood moon this morning. For those of you who don't know, the November moon is actually called the beaver moon. Why is it called the beaver moon? Because when old Ben Franklin was putting together his old Dickie's almanac, um, he named the November moon beaver moon because that was when the beavers were done winterizing everything for the winter. Beaver moon. So last night, this morning, for those of you who stayed up to watch it, where the cloud cover wasn't being an angry pain in the butt, it was the blood beaver moon. Do with that what you will. Hey, how you doing, Mike? Amber, glad to see you. Mike, got a lot of crazy stuff going on tonight. So tonight, okay, we are still 2 hours out before they even start to releasing coverage in Idaho. And I'm going to bring in Shane here. How you doing, Shane?
Pretty good. How about you?
Love your background, man. Love your background. So you
Thank
got
you.
the East Coast goods, man. You got the East Coast goods. Tell me, what were the big races in the East Coast that are over with already? I mean, we already got Rubio, supposedly he took his seat down in Texas. Surprise, surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Um, who else we got?
I think West Virginia was up. I'm not sure who was up on West Virginia. Hold on. I'm pulling up my notes here. Give me a second.
Right. Um,
Where are they?
one of those things. Okay, so yeah, Vermont went blue. Well, Vermont was blue. Connecticut, Maryland. Let's see. Indiana and Kentucky both went red, apparently.
Oh,
So
that's
that's an
interesting.
interesting one.
So we have
Oklahoma,
Rubio.
Arkansas, no surprise. Florida, no surprise. Um, Total seats in the Senate. Ooh. No election for the two other parties, whenever those other parties were. I guess one of them is going to be, of course, Bernie Sanders, the independent.
Mm-hmm.
No, Jimmy, change isn't coming. You know that. We didn't dump near enough incumbents. All we get is 2 more years of the same. And that's one of the ironic things about this election. By the time most of us realized, actually, Jimmy, he invited himself. Feel free. I'd love to have you on. I mean, I'm already co-opting your channel for this. We can go ahead and make it a round robin here. And extra, yeah.
You like my? Yeah, I don't know whose house this is, but I like it.
Jane broke into someone's house. I broke out of someone's house. Yeah. DeSantis, right? Florida. And talk about Florida. 80s TV series were all about the hookers and blow in Florida. Miami Heat. The whole 9 yards.
I got this map if you want to see this.
Yeah. Look at this. I got my Hawaiian shirt on, doing the whole Hawaiian thing, or Fiji. Oh yeah, and that's the Google map. Okay, Google's safe for us. There's no copyright infringements by using the Google thing, right?
Right. At least not yet.
Not yet. We're getting there. Yes. but Jimmy, please come on, join us.
Yeah, join us.
You can self-invite, man. Okay, but yeah, so we're looking at the layout right now on what's going on. So far the Republican Party is 8. So they won 2/3 of the seats. Looks, and Georgia's looking mighty pink there. Georgia's looking mighty pink. Um,
That's some
Atlanta,
blue districts.
Augusta,
Yeah.
Savannah. Well, you got the blue islands in the middle of a red state. I think
Mhm.
every state has something like that. The difference is some of these states that we look at, you know, like New York and Illinois, the blue districts are literally so populated, so dense that it doesn't matter how big, right? Jimmy, we need to get you some solar backup there. We need,
Yeah.
seriously, we need to get you grid independent, Jimmy. We need you 24/7 there, mama. Yeah.
So we got John Fetterman winning with 70% in PA. That was a highly contested race with Dr. Oz.
Well,
And
Fetterman with 70%. Okay,
But
let's take. How do you call it a contested race when somebody
9%
walks away with
reporting.
70% of the vote?
Well,
No,
there's only
no,
9%
that's only
reporting.
9%. That's the main districts.
Let's see.
Right. Maryland got its first black governor. Guam. First openly gay governor in the United States. Guam, of all places, right?
That's crazy.
Guam kicked us off, with the call for change. They went way out and basically told the rest mainland US what they could do with it. But yeah, so Guam as a territory, was one of the first ones to come in with reports on who won their races. Yes, Guam is US territory. Guamanians are Americans. Deal with it, folks.
Looks like the GOP may take. Is this the House or the Senate that they're showing
That's
here?
the Senate, I believe. Yeah, it's the Senate.
The
If we
GOP may
start,
take
yeah,
over.
that's the 100. So that's the 100 for the Senate. 39 to 40. Okay, now what this means is that neither one of them are going to get the supermajority again. So it's 2 more years of nobody gets anything done.
No,
so that's what we're looking at with the Senate. We're going to end up with non-supermajority Senate. They're going to have to do their back and forth. They're going to have to negotiate. You're going to have to come up with bipartisan ways to screw the American citizens, because that's what bipartisan means in America.
We'll get some corporate tax cuts.
Or will we? I don't know.
Depends on which corporate. Maybe. Well,
maybe it's interesting because I honestly expect Twitter to start getting taxed real heavy here now that it is the what is it? Sole ownership, sole proprietorship organization company. Dude, I don't know who in their right mind thought Beto O'Rourke would actually flip. No, it's never going to happen. Despite the blue spots, Dallas, Fort Worth, and Houston. There just isn't enough blue in Texas because they don't concentrate it enough. You don't concentrate people in Texas enough. You actually end up with a truly blue. You got purple cities in Texas.
If you saw what Beto was trying to do during that race, he was trying to play the I'm a centrist, but I'm a progressive, but I'm a moderate, but I'm a conservative, kind of play and nobody was buying any of it.
Well, unfortunately, he's got a long history coming out with these statements that just annoy everybody. He's it's always extreme statements. It's always something radical. Now, thing is there are a couple states in the United States where radical works. Um,
And I was helping out Delilah Barrios down in Texas. She was running green, but Texas.
Mike, I was actually thinking about this earlier when I was looking at my backgrounds and I was thinking, I'm wearing the Hawaiian shirt and I got the Hawaiian background because America's about to become a banana republic. If it isn't already. Um, you know, uh, I probably shouldn't say things like that, but I mean, it's a long-standing joke that America is a banana republic these days. We no longer have politicians that are for the people. These are politicians who are corporate owned. They move military based on corporate. They move our standing armies based on corporate
Mhm.
calls. We proved that during Occupy Wall Street. Occupy Seattle when the Occupy Wall Street movement went into Seattle to protest the what was it, the G6 or the G20? G10, G20, I don't know. It's one of those big ones. You know, corporations actually paid the Seattle police's insurance policy for wrongful arrest to make sure that the police would arrest absolutely everybody and anybody they wanted to, just to keep things down to a minimum. Now, this is interesting. Our ooh, which way goes the house? Now,
I
this is one
think
thing. Yeah,
the Dems are going to lose the House this time.
it's darts and charts. Extra bullets, darts and charts.
Well, they lost two
We're gonna
seats.
throw things at it and see what sticks.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is one of those things. New York, we got to wait for New York to report because most of New York's going to come in blue for the House.
Yeah.
Most of those, hey, right,
And
right.
here's the
Twitch. We're on Twitch channel. We're on Jimmy's Twitch. We're
yeah.
on Jimmy's Rock Fan too.
The
So
Democrats have said that if they lose the House, they're going to kick Pelosi to the curb this time. So we'll see if that's actually true.
well, they're not going to kick Pelosi to the curb because Pelosi just needs to go away. I'm honestly surprised she even ran. But then again, that's California politics, and I swear, as much as people like to talk trash about the red states, and um, politics in California is just straight up dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up dirty. There's no such thing as clean politics in California.
Oh, there's
You
no
know,
results yet in California at all.
well, there aren't going to be any. They're not going to start posting results until 9 o'clock. Pacific time. So we still got what 2 more hours before we'll start seeing anything out of California. Of course, some of those districts will be declared winners before the polls even close. San Francisco is going to go blue. LA is going to go blue.
Where'd it go? Yeah, there it is.
It sucks because most of the representatives in California are going to go blue. The I-5 corridor. They got so many. There are so many districts in the I-5 and the I-95 corridors. Okay. And what I mean by I-5 and I-95 corridors, I-5 is the West Coast. That is the main freeway that takes you from the Canadian border up in Washington, up along by Vancouver, cleared down through Oregon, through Seattle, Olympia, or Seattle. Seattle, Olympia, Portland. What's the capital city? Down through Mount Shasta, all down that west coast. The only thing that's more west of the west coast is State Highway 1, which is the Pacific Road, or the Pacific Highway. right? What is it? They talk about third parties being spoilers. Jesus, we can't even get a single race under 50%. Um, that may change here in the state of Idaho. That may change. Well, we got a couple states. There are a couple real prominent
Let's go to Idaho.
libertarians and greens that have run in different states that actually stand a chance of pulling enough. Yeah, they're not going to report till 9 p.m. Pacific time. So we still got 2 more hours before we start seeing reports out of Idaho. Okay, but Idaho, we got a couple independent, couple third-party candidates, which we're expecting to do pretty good this time. We got Jennifer Luoma up in northern Idaho. We got Mike Long down here in Meridian area. Paul Sand, he's our libertarian governor. That one's actually going to be an interesting one. The Idaho gubernatorial race. They got the gubernatorials.
Let's see.
Google gubernatorial races, gubernatorial election. There we go.
Oh, they do.
They do. Okay, so far, well, and this really isn't a surprise. State level elections generally trending towards conservative because of the roles they have. New York, who's going to take New York?
The Dems.
New Hampshire went red. That's interesting. Yeah. The Free State Project. I think they ended up backing the Republican candidate. I don't know where they are with that.
Vermont is going to go red. Is that Vermont?
Yeah, that's Vermont. Montpelier. That's going to be interesting. Bernie's home state actually going red, as opposed to the strong blue that it's been in previous years.
Well, they have gone red before, I think, but mostly moderate type Republicans or moderate
football Republicans. We call them rhinos here in the state of Idaho. Republican in name only.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things I find extremely ironic here in the state. We literally have rhinos calling rhinos rhinos. And it's like nobody knows what a Republican in the state of Idaho is anymore. Everybody's trying to out-Republican each other without any idea of what being a Republican actually is or was. So some of this stuff is really interesting. So Republican Party, Democrat. Okay, our gubernatorials. The governors have already taken the lead on that. And that's not really that big of a surprise because that's going to be sort of along the same line as the Senate.
Why don't we go smaller and see if there's anything? I doubt anything will come up, but we can go smaller. Oh, there's not going to be a map for that.
There's not going to be a map for mayors. And how many mayors are actually running this year? Because mayors, city election, okay, there's a few. California is running some 2022 mayoral elections. LA, well, LA is a county. I don't know how you call LA county. Anyway. Okay, so there's a few.
Austin, Texas. That's it. San Francisco.
It's going to go blue.
Minnesota.
Okay. The marijuana elections, the initiatives, the things that are going on the ballot for marijuana across the states. What are we looking at for those? Because we got, 25 states with weed vote. The weed vote.
Is Colorado doing one this year? I don't know. That came up.
It did. I don't remember Colorado being one of those that was big on the advocacy for that. Let me take a look here.
Marijuana on the ballot.
Yep. It's on the ballot in a lot of places.
Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California. Well, this can't be your correct list.
That's the Ballotpedia list. We actually got one from one of the other election systems going on here.
Is there a better one to look at?
Uh,
Oh, the 5 states to watch for weed. Oh. They're probably going to make me subscribe, but let's see. Here we go. Here's a map where, and it's keyed, where recreational use is up, legal recreational use, and legal use for medical. How's that?
Yeah. I mean, wow. Look at all that. Weed on the ballot. So it's interesting. Last year, 2 years ago, I was actually looking at the third parties that made serious dents in the duopolies arrangement, and a lot of them were in. Honestly, the two parties that were the most impressive, that managed to do the most damage in as far as drilling into the duopoly, were the marijuana parties of, I believe, Michigan. It was Marijuana Now and another one, and literally their third party candidates pulled upwards of 15%. During a presidential general election. So here we are. We're actually looking at medical.
It's the ones with the red dot are the ones that are voting now. I think, right? No.
Recreational up for vote. Okay, so you're looking at the Dakotas, Missouri, Arkansas, Maryland. You already got several legal for recreational use. That's interesting. Idaho, Wyoming, and Utah holding out there. And legal for medical use only. Utah's medical. A lot of those others that are opening up for recreational. It's going to be interesting to see. An awful lot of people did some things, a few years ago, as far as trying to talk people into doing, just bypassing the medical. It's like nobody wants to do medical anymore because it's like, why not just make it legal for everybody? Why are we still allowing the criminalization of possession, around? And we actually had one of our papers here in the state of Idaho do a poll here in the state regarding marijuana and whether the state supported medical, whether the state supported recreational, or whether or not the state supported what's basically decriminalization of personal use. And the results were interesting because we had 68% that actively support 68% that actively support medical marijuana in the state, to 18 that oppose it. Now here we're looking at a 50-point difference. Yes, and 14 that weren't sure. So that's medical marijuana in the state of Idaho. Now it's interesting. Recreational, we got less than 50% that support recreational in the state. That's not really a surprise considering the religious nature of an awful lot of religious faith of many Idahoans. But when it came to personal use possession, we literally had 80% of the state, 80% of the respondents out of 550 say fine, if anything. 40% said fine, 40% said, why are you bothering? Shouldn't even be stopping people from marijuana possession. So 80% support personal use decriminalization. Now, the problem is that doesn't actually stop criminal sales. It doesn't stop black market sales. It just says you can't go after the people who use. You can't go after the people who buy. Thing is it doesn't make the market any safer because they're still prosecuting the sellers. They're still prosecuting the providers. They're still prosecuting, the free market individuals who are helping answer the demand for that, which still makes the market very dangerous, either as a user or a seller, or several of these other things that continue to go on.
This is the actual ballot measure in Idaho.
All right. Yeah, now that didn't actually make it on the ballot this year, which is why Idaho is still gray. We don't got a little red dot that says we're holding an election on it this year. Now, for those of you who are following medical marijuana initiatives, particularly here in the state of Idaho, Kind Idaho, for those of you who are familiar, is already working on the 2024 ballot initiative. Right, Extra Bola? They don't go after for criminal behavior. They go after for tax evasion. It's okay to sell those drugs as long as you pay your taxes on the drugs you sell. Yeah. Welcome to the RICO Act. Dude, because Idaho is the Mississippi of the North. I just say yes, Idaho is the Mississippi of the North. That is why Mississippi actually got medical marijuana before the state of Idaho did. No surprise. You laugh. We got people here in the state of Idaho that are crying. But this is one of those. This is actually one of those single issue items that can come up on a ballot in a state. Your single issue voters. Are they or are they not supportive of medical marijuana? Because if they're supportive of medical marijuana, if they're supportive of recreational marijuana, they're generally supportive of freedoms or the taxes on your freedoms. We got it.
It's actually pretty close in North Dakota right now. They're only at 8%, and it's a 2-point difference in the legalization.
Right. That's not bad. North Dakota. Well, 8% in North Dakota. Don't want recreational. It's not really a huge surprise for North Dakota. There's a couple states, they're like Idaho. 48%, will support recreational. The other 52 are going, I don't know, man. Probably not.
South Dakota is not digging it.
Yeah. I mean, and that's one of those things. I think there's an awful lot of people who really sort of underestimated the value of recreational marijuana, particularly as a national resource. We saw an awful lot of these very liberal, very progressive states that jumped on the bandwagon for recreate. It's like they didn't even give their medical programs a chance before they were waving the recreational flag. We've actually seen an awful lot of situations in states like California and Colorado where that jumping over the medical marijuana program basically set them up for failure because there was no gradual entry into the marijuana market. There was no opportunity for education on, responsible use for an awful lot of the drugs as they started doing this rapid release decriminalization for personal use. Oregon, going, we don't care what it is you're doing, just don't have so much of it you can sell it off to somebody.
We can go to every. Oh, wow. Vermont is voting on the banning of slavery. And
I want to know who those 11.3 mother son of a are.
They don't have 100%.
How do you not have 100% on an anti-slavery proposition in America in 2020.
Who's voting to keep slavery?
Who? Who are these 7,806? Nice. 69. I can't with Vermont right now. I can't. Vermont. Josh wants to know what that ballot. What is that ballot measure? The anti-slavery ballot measure. Okay.
Hey, Josh, nice to see you. Josh is a friend
Vermont's
from
constitution to prohibit slavery and indentured servitude in any form.
Why? Who is voting no?
Mike's got it's the prison industry lobby. It's the prison industry lobby.
Yeah,
because prisons use prison labor. And that's what this is. This is peonage. You know, slavery, indentured servitude, peonage. Literally, we got 11.3, 7,869 mothers, son of a guns, voted.
Josh Hadley comes to us from the Alaska Green Party, I believe. He was on the show a long time ago.
Yeah, Josh, how's the Green Party's? Yeah, well, you got 2 more hours before Alaska's going to start reporting. Oh, man.
I can't believe there's anybody voting no. I mean, how can you vote no on that?
Prison.
I'm sure.
Yeah, the right to put prisoners to work.
Illinois got a ballot measure. That's an interesting one. Collective bargaining.
And that's a pro-union measure. You know, not really that big of a surprise out of Chicago.
Yeah. This map is better than I thought. We can even look at the ballot measures here. District of Columbia. Oh. That's an interesting one.
Minimum wage for tipped employees. Yeah, sorry, Josh. You know, we're here talking about. I still got 2 more hours before they even start reporting on the state of Idaho here.
Wyoming's not reporting anything. Colorado.
You gotta stick to the East Coast. You know, none of the polls on the left coast are reporting just yet. Does Louisiana have some? What does Louisiana have?
Let's see what Louisiana's doing. Oh, they have 3 measures. Oh, they have more than 3 measures. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 measures.
8. Louisiana doing that citizens initiative stuff. Gotta love you, Louisiana. Thanks for stepping up, man. Revise rules for state investments. It's good. Expand property tax exemptions for veterans. Go Louisiana. Nice. Number 3. That's a good one. Yeah. You're a public worker and you got a family who's running. Mike, we need to do that. You know, regulates water utility bills.
I'm wondering how.
I don't know. That one's going to be a tough one.
Amends the Louisiana Constitution to allow local governments to waive water charges for customers when water infrastructure is damaged and it's not the customer's fault.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Regulates property taxes. Okay, that's a good one. That's a carry on.
Limits property
tax increase.
Oh, ban slavery. Oh my God.
Okay, so it wasn't just North Carolina. It wasn't just Vermont.
Vermont.
Uh,
This is even worse.
okay,
Amends
the anti-slavery bill in Vermont or the anti-slavery bill in Louisiana? Ooh.
This will delete a provision in their constitution permitting slavery, involuntary servitude as a punishment for a crime. 56% say no. 87,000 people. 9% reporting.
Okay, so Louisiana actually wants state servitude, wants prison slave labor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Seems so. That's fun. In 2022.
In 2022, we want slave labor in Louisiana. Whew.
Okay. Let's see. Somebody's asking about Nebraska. Are they reporting
Nebraska. Well, okay, so Nebraska is generally purple. You know, it's got it usually produces one red, one blue. Is it going to go all red or all blue this year? It'll be an interesting discussion.
Are they reporting? Where did they say? Alaska? Not Alaska. Nevada. No.
Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Well, yeah, it is the South.
Okay, their governor's race looks like it's going blue for now.
Okay. No, that's the early urban reporting.
Let's see about House. Two blue, one red.
Yeah.
Senate. No Senate election in Nebraska this year. I thought the senators, I thought that one senator was generally up in a state each year. Maybe not. Maybe it's every 3 years or something like that.
Right, Mike? You know, anti-slavery, right in line with qualified immunity, eminent domain, civil asset forfeiture, and generally repealing victimless crimes as moral codes.
Alabama's got some measures.
The idea of slavery as a punishment. Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
this is an interesting thing. Okay. Reason why is because the state of Idaho, one of our candidates, Ammon Bundy, actually came out with a hardcore restitution policy for justice reform in the state of Idaho, meaning that if you're guilty of a property crime or something, the goal is restitution and restoration. How you doing, Les? How you doing? We're covering the polls tonight. We're talking crap about all sorts of things. Yes, that is Shane.
Yes. We got plenty of states. We got what is it? Louisiana voting for slavery.
Yes, Louisiana is voting for slavery. Now this is interesting. Reason why is because right now there are only 4 states in the United States. Count this: 4 states. 4 states that allow the export of prison labor product. Okay, 4 states. Louisiana is one of them. Okay.
Idaho
is another one. Okay.
Tennessee is
Idaho
also
and Louisiana are half the states that allow for sale of products from prison labor outside of state borders. Okay. Think that one through, folks. When you're looking at Louisiana, voting 56% in favor of prison slave labor.
Let's go back to Louisiana.
It already exists in Idaho, and it's not even being debated here, man. It's not even being debated here.
Yep.
We got prison slave labor here in the state of Idaho, and it's not even up for debate. It's happening.
Does Idaho have any ballot measures? Let's see. Oh, you have 2 ballot measures.
Yes, technically we don't. One is a ballot measure, and that was actually not a citizens initiative. This was a Senate joint resolution. And this, okay, Idaho state legislature is only allowed to serve for about 90 days a year. They
What?
assemble in January. Yeah, just 90 days. They assemble in January, work through February and March, and they usually sign die. You know, yeah, yeah. Idaho, come on vacation, leave on probation. For that matter, come to Idaho, you drive through on work. You'll leave on probation because we will arrest you for stopping off in Oregon and then driving across the state border with that thing that you thought was legal because you bought it at a border town dispensary. Okay. The Senate Joint Resolution 102. Okay, 90 days is what they're allowed. So they basically have 90 days to do all of their business for the year, and then they go back home to do whatever it is they do, with spring planting and spring crops and the rest of the things that
And do they get
farmers,
paid for the whole year?
yeah, they get 90 days and that's it. If they aren't done by April, everybody starts getting grumpy and irritable because they all want to go back home. Okay. Now, what SJR 102 wants to do is it wants the legislature to be able to call itself back into session at any time in the future. So if somebody in the legislature decides that they didn't get business done that they needed to get done, or they feel that the executive branch doing what the executive branch was legally told it should do, if any one of them got a wild hair up there, they could call the state legislature back into session.
My issue with this resolution is it's not specific. It doesn't say how many legislators it takes. Can one legislator just be like, we're all going back?
Now, the rules are actually a little bit more comprehensive than that. They do have to have a certain number that are willing to convene. And if the certain number are willing to call it, they still have to have a certain number that are willing to actually attend to meet quorum. So literally, they, even with this in place, even with this amendment, chances of them actually calling themselves into session, I don't know how likely it is.
Well,
But I
the
think at this
governor can
point,
call it, says. Yeah, it says here the governor can already call a special session. Anybody Joe Well. Joe seems to be frozen. I don't know if anyone else can see Joe. Not sure what happened to Joe. Hopefully he'll be back soon. In the meantime, we'll do a call-in. Does anyone want to join me here? Because I'm like... We'll be right back. We'll be right back after Joe Biden telling you to vote for someone else.
We'll make your case.
I'm not going.
I'm going to support you if you win the nominations. We got to get rid of Trump. But what are we going to do about climate change? Now, you say you're against pipelines, but then you want to replace these gas lines. That's not going to work. We can't. We got to stop.
Oh. Oh. Welcome back.
Sorry, guys. Power drop for a moment. Yeah, I see you talking a little crap there. Yes. The pondering.
I had so we got some ballot measures in a couple of states. Tennessee is also voting on slavery.
Okay, now to be fair, I thought slavery was pretty much decided.
Yes.
You
So did
know, now true, the 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment, and we've had this discussion a few times, the 13th Amendment didn't actually end slavery. All it did was institutionalize it as a government managed institution.
We have
Right, Mike? Yeah, they do plenty of damage.
137,000 people in Tennessee want to keep slavery.
Well, at least they got a better representation than Louisiana does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marion
said water wells. That's going to be an interesting concept as we start developing some of the things that are coming up here in Idaho. For those of you who weren't paying attention, Idaho's actually opened up a cobalt mine, so we can start producing cobalt for electric vehicle batteries. Yeah, which means all of that water that you may be drilling for may be toxic before too much longer if that mine isn't handled properly.
That's an interesting measure. An Amendment 2 in Tennessee.
Senate Speaker is the acting governor. That's an interesting. Completely bypassed the idea of a lieutenant governor. Yeah, Jimmy, I pulled it, Jimmy. The power dropped out on me. It went bye-bye. So I had to recover.
Yeah. When the governor is temporarily, yeah, isn't that the job of the lieutenant governor? That's what I thought.
Right, the lieutenant governor is supposed to take over, but it's like, okay, wait, you elected somebody to be a representative, only now you're going to make him governor just because they're Speaker of the House. Now this is ironic. Reason why is because an awful lot of states don't actually make it a requirement that the Speaker of the House have actually been elected by the people.
Yeah, that's true too. So someone
there are some states where the Speaker of the House can literally be appointed, no prior public service, experience, never done political work for politician, and like now they're the Speaker of the House.
Let's find out.
And in Tennessee, they could literally be, the acting governor.
Let's see. They're elected by the membership of the House in Tennessee.
Right? Okay, now by elected by membership of the House in Tennessee, does that mean they need to be elected from among the body?
Let's see.
Or just anybody they nominate.
By the membership of the House, it just says be elected by the membership of the House during the organizational session of General Assembly. It doesn't say from among the members of the House, it says by the members of the House.
So
So
you got a Speaker of the House that's never been elected. And they say it isn't rigged. Come on.
and they can be the governor. Acting governor.
Ballot measure 4 in Maryland. What was 4 in Maryland?
Let's see. You said Maryland?
Maryland.
4. 1. Oh, that's a good one.
Nice, nice. It's another one. Legalize marijuana at 21 and older. Your lieutenant to my bougie friends from Coeur d'Alene way. The lieutenant governor.
Oh.
And I'm so glad that our lieutenant governor is gone.
Mm-hmm. I actually like ballot measure 2 here. That's good.
Yeah.
Living in the district.
Right? It would help if people actually lived in the district of the people that are voting for them. I don't know why that would be a question.
They're requiring it that they live in the district for 6 months prior to their election.
Mike, we're going to make you the Speaker of the House of Idaho. As I just going to have them vote you in. You'll be the Speaker of the House. Third in line to the gubernatorialship. Come on, man. Responsible use. Responsible. Be responsible with stuff. Personal responsibility is appreciated. You know,
Orphan court.
Um,
We got some weird measures here, but
well, you always got some weird measures, and the ones that are named weird always end up. What's this? Okay, 90%. That one's a good one. 64 lawmakers to limit right to jury trials in some. What?
which state are you looking at?
Not Maryland, right there. Number 3.
Number 3.
They allow lawmakers to limit the right to jury trials in some civil case. What?
What? That's a direct violation of the Constitution.
Right to equal representation. You know, why are you saying you can't have a jury trial, civil case? Why can't you take your case to a jury of your peers to determine whether or not you're a lunatic?
What is it? Amends the Constitution to allow legislation limiting the right to a jury trial in civil cases when the amount disputed is less than $25,000 instead of the current gap of $15,000.
Okay. Well, I guess small claims court
renames the state's appeals courts. They're renaming things. Okay.
So they don't want to call it the Supreme Court of Maryland?
The Appellate Court of Maryland.
Okay.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah, let's. Right, Mike? The honorarium colonel of the state militia. Isn't that what the lieutenant governor is? The honorarium colonel?
Well, let's go.
This is a good one, Mike. This is a solid one. You know, prevent debt collectors from seeking default judgments after failing to serve notice properly. You know, failing to serve notice properly in a court proceeding and demanding the default, that's the equivalent of theft. Okay, that is the use of the state to commit theft. Use of state violence to commit theft.
That's
by
fun.
that kind of fraudulent activity.
Georgia's got some fun ones.
Nice. 88.6. halts pay for indicted state executive office holders and lawmakers.
Yeah.
We need that in the state of Idaho.
We need that across the board. Why would an indicted lawmaker be collecting a check?
Right. Why would an indicted lawmaker be collecting a pension after having committed high crimes and misdemeanors while in office?
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad to see 88.6%. Some of these are good. We're actually going to have to see about doing some of these in Idaho. Get a couple of organizations together and say, you know what? That guy that got kicked out of the Idaho House this year for doing the thing he did to that intern. Yeah, he's not going to survive prison.
Connecticut just legalized, or is going to legalize early voting, I guess. That's their only one.
Right.
Let's see.
Yeah, they tend to do that. At least they don't. And it's funny because there were lawyers here in the state of Idaho, that are still working on the issue of prison for failure to pay bills. What is it they call that? Where they just throw you in jail for contempt of court because you didn't pay a debt. Debtor's prison.
That's a waste of space.
Yeah, debtor's prison in Idaho is a violation of the Constitution. Yet somehow we still have judges in the state that continually assign jail and or prison for people in contempt of court for their judgments. Yeah, debtor's prison. It's illegal in the state of Idaho constitutionally. Yet we still have judges that assign debtor's prison for a number of reasons.
Massachusetts got some. That's fun. Retail liquor.
Yeah. I'm going to have to come back to some of this a little bit later.
Yeah, there's a lot of different measures.
Right. What Massachusetts liquor?
Let's go to Massachusetts. Yeah. They have a liquor one. Let me see. Changes limits on the number of alcohol licenses a retailer can hold, prohibits self-checkout sales of alcohol, and allows out-of-state driver's license to be used as an identification of purchase. So I guess that I can use my driver's license from New Jersey to purchase liquor in Massachusetts if this passes. Okay.
Right. No, we definitely regulating dental insurance.
What's with that? How?
Massachusetts question 2.
Submit medical loss ratios to state regulators and to refund excess premiums to customers if the annual medical loss ratio is less than 83%. The loss ratio measures the amount spent on dental expenses and quality improvements. I'm assuming the average voter is not going to understand what they're talking about there.
Nope.
And that's also the problem with a lot of these. They word these in the most complicated manner because they don't want you to know what they're talking about.
Well, and that's one of the things. It's proven, fact that, they name a bill after something. They say it's going to do something that it does the exact opposite of. They've always done that. The Anti-Inflation Act, is causing even faster raises in it. Yes, polls close in Ada County in 4 minutes. The problem is they won't actually start reporting that for another hour, Mike, because North Idaho, they won't start reporting any of Idaho until polls close in North Idaho.
The House, the Republicans are doing well.
Mike, did you have half of the votes or 0.5% of the votes?
I think he's saying 0.5% based on the way it's worded there.
Mike will do better than that. It's a three-way race for Mike there in that district: Republican, Democrat, and Mike. No, it's a four-way race. It's a four-way race because we have a constitutional candidate running in that district as well. That's ironic because Mike, yes, you'd better expect at least 51%, Mike. Mike is actually running against a fellow Marine on the third-party tickets. He's a Marine, right, Mike? For that seat in Idaho's Legislative District 21, which is Meridian. That's why everybody in Idaho just says CDA.
He's running for what? CDA?
No. Coeur d'Alene. Everybody calls Coeur d'Alene CDA. We just spell it CDA. Everybody knows what we're talking about. And nobody has to worry about misspelling because everybody misspells it unless you're indigenous. Daniel Weston, okay. Marine and a Mason. Mike, you and these secret societies, man. What's with the Masons and the Marine Corps? It's all right. Good guy, Daniel. Better guy? No. You're both good guys. You're both awesome guys. Daniel stepped up. I think maybe if we can get him over to,
Ooh.
We'll see what happens after this run.
I just looked up what Fighter's talking about.
The Kentucky Constitution does not provide the right to an abortion or require funding of an abortion. No. Well, 50. That's close, man. That's close.
They're at 68%, so that could still go either way at this point, no?
It could. It could. Libertarians and constitutionalists taking over the world will leave you alone. One vote at a time, man. Taking over the world will leave you alone.
And they also have a special legislative session similar to Idaho going on.
Yep, special legislative session. Why, man? Politicians mess things up bad enough during the time they're in office. Why would you want extra time to go in and screw stuff up?
Well, they actually don't. Kentucky says no.
Posturing already.
Kentucky's saying
we
no.
need more pancake feeds. Honestly, we do. We need a lot more pancake feeds. Oh, man.
Oh, Missouri's got some.
Missouri got some good ones. What's Missouri got? Let's talk about what Missouri's got.
A lot of them. They have 6, it looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 6. Oh, they're trying to call a constitutional convention for their own state constitution, and their citizens are massively rejecting it.
Well, that's good. Because that's one of those things. The citizens aren't going to be invited to the damn constitutional convention.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame them for being upset over something like that.
Legalizing marijuana. 51%.
Another one of the states. Ooh, dude.
6% sales tax. Yeesh.
A constitutional amendment for marijuana. Jeez. Dude, that's close.
What else do they got? Increasing police funding. That could go either way, depending on how their police are.
I'm curious whether or not that marijuana constitutional amendment simply requires a simple majority or a supermajority to pass.
The legalizing marijuana one?
Well, because what it is,
it amends the Constitution.
Yeah, it's a constitutional amendment that they're asking for, including a constitutional tax on it. Yeah, I know why everybody wants something with rules like that in the Constitution. Constitution is supposed to be about limiting government, folks. Limit government, not grant it more powers like the ability to tax a recreational drug.
I'm trying to see what they need for a constitutional amendment. They need 2/3 majority. It looks like
Okay, so
of congressional districts in the state. So not just 2/3 majority, 2/3 majority of all the congressional districts across the state.
okay, so that constitutional amendment's likely to die.
Yeah.
Okay, and fair enough. You shouldn't need a constitutional amendment to legalize something.
State Department of the National Guard. Increase funding for police.
Sales tax. No, Josh, it isn't. Matter of fact, we're one of the few states that will arrest truckers for going across state lines with hemp.
Montana's
charge
got
them with a felony for 6 tons of hemp in their trailer.
Montana is trying to do a constitutional amendment to protect data from unreasonable search and seizure.
Well, it should be, and the fact that the Supreme Court allows it to be exempt from unreasonable search and seizure continues to be problematic. Yeah, Josh, no, it's 100% illegal in the state of Idaho, to the point where we are actually making CBD oil for pets, or CBD for pets, illegal. We made that illegal a week ago. We no longer carry pet CBD in pet stores here in the state. And that's how anti-marijuana, how anti-hemp, anti-cannabis the state of Idaho is. The clarification, 35% of our prison population in the state of Idaho, 35%, 1/3, over 3,000 of our prisoners, felony prisoners in the state of Idaho are in for simple drug charges. Not associated with violence, not assault or manslaughter or killing their rivals. They just happen to have enough marijuana that they were classified as a dealer, or any other drug for that matter, that they were classified as a dealer, and they're in prison for a mandatory minimum. 35% of our prison population in this state. I don't know how bad that ratio is in other states, but I mean, think about it. If every state were to decriminalize the drug market, the way that they've managed to decriminalize the pharmaceutical markets, okay, be able to grow your own, medicinals, they were to decriminalize it, 1/3 of the prison population across the United States would be released overnight.
Exactly. Oh, Arizona's starting to report they were blank before. They're trying to get themselves lieutenant governor. That's fine.
All right, so we got about an hour. Anyway, guys, I'm going to roll on out of here because I got to take care of some family business real quick. You want to carry it for a while, Shane?
Sure. You're gonna come back?
Yeah, I'm going to come back. I just got to run and pick up the kid.
All right.
Yeah, he found himself a little too far out on a long walk, so just got to go grab him real quick. You
All
guys
right.
have Jimmy. Where are you, Jimmy? Where are you, Jimmy? Come on.
Yeah,
Keep
Jimmy.
Shane company for a little bit.
I mean,
You know.
come on, keep your connection on for a little bit.
Okay.
All right. We're gonna do a call-in while we're waiting for Joe, and I'm gonna put the StreamYard link in the chat, and somebody please call in so I don't have to sit here by myself. Somebody. While we wait for people to call in, we are going to watch a video of Joe Biden telling people to vote for someone else. And hopefully someone will actually call in today because we didn't plan a call in and
We'll make your case.
I'm not going to support you if you win the nominations. We got to get rid of Trump. But what are we going to do about climate change? Now, you say you're against pipelines, but then you want to replace these gas lines. That's not going to work. We got to stop building and replacing pipelines. You got to go vote for somebody else.
All right, thanks so much, sir. We're going to have you here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I'm going to vote you in the general if you treat me
Yeah,
right.
I know. Well, no, I'm not.
Well, can I have a
Look,
pic?
you're asking a picture of me, coming up and telling me you don't support me.
No.
My plan. Yeah, you did. You said you
I said I would support you in the
in
general.
the general. I'm looking
Right.
for a primary.
We're happy to
and
get
a
a number.
caucus.
We can follow up.
That's what I'm looking for, okay?
Just because we're trying to get.
You believe that Bernie can do something by 2030?
I'm actually supporting Trump's tire.
Thompson, well, that's good. He's the guy that did
Thanks
more
so much,
coal
sir. We have
mining.
a long line right here.
We got a long line than the entire country did.
welcome to Nard.
Well, thank you so much.
Welcome, Josh, both two. Welcome, guys. So we're looking at some ballot measures, or we were looking at some ballot measures. Let's go back into that. Can you see this? So right now we're looking at Arizona, and Arizona just reported in, and they're trying to do a couple of things. One of the things they're trying to do is create an office of lieutenant governor, and they have 54.7% in agreement on that. Now, in your prospective states, do you have a lieutenant governor?
Yes.
In Alaska.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. I didn't even realize there were some, well, I never really thought about it. I guess there are some states that don't have one.
That's strange.
It really is. They're trying to do some campaign finance reform. Is this a reform? Requires entities making independent campaign expenditures of at least $50,000 in statewide campaigns or $25,000 in other campaigns to disclose the original source of money for contributions over $5,000. Okay, so that's some campaign finance reform.
That's good.
That's good.
The biggest question is whether or not the state government will actually follow through those proposals, those propositions.
That's true. Well, I think they have to if it gets voted up. I think they're supposed to, aren't they?
Florida voted for giving for nonviolent felons the right to vote back, and yet they decided
Yeah,
to
they took it
give
away.
poll tax.
Well, they can undo it, yes. I would hope they won't. Let's go ahead. I don't think your polls are open in Alaska or closed yet in Alaska.
Our ballot measures a constitutional convention.
You're trying to call it, what's the constitutional convention? What are they trying to call it for? Do you know?
We get delegates and they decide, we're gonna add this amendment, or we're gonna maybe take. Well, I believe add amendments like probably some stuff on the PFD taxes.
Do you know the purpose? Do you know which group orchestrated this?
I I believe it's it's mostly people who do want something done on the PFD to have a specific number instead of having to deal with the legislators deciding on a number and whether or not the governor approves it. People have been really tired of that. I voted yes on it myself.
Okay. Let's take a look at the election results. Why can't I look at all states?
Right.
There we go. So we have the House is 40 GOP and 39 Dem. I'm going to make a prediction now that the House is going to flip. Does anyone want to say otherwise?
I mostly follow 538, and that's what they've been saying for the House. It's gonna flip. Wouldn't surprise me at all. For the longest time, it said the Senate would hold blue, but seems like just recently it seems like it's gonna switch as well, perhaps.
Let's look at the Senate. Well, we're looking at the Senate now. I'm sorry. So
yeah.
we're looking at the House. So this is 40 to 39. Let's look at the House. 86 to 48, and the Dems lost 3 seats, and the GOP gained 2. Wait, if the Dems lost 3 seats, other parties have 0 seats, and the GOP gained 2 seats. That math doesn't sound right, but okay.
Yeah, in Montana, there's like they have an extra. They got a new district. The candidates running for that congressional seat is Democrat Monica Trano, sorry, and former Trump Secretary of the Interior who resigned to multiple investigations, Ryan Zinke. Who happens to want his job back.
So we're we gotta ask when Joe goes to Congress, who's he gonna caucus with? Is it gonna be the Republicans, the Democrats?
Right.
Joe who? Joe
Evans, the guy who was here earlier.
Oh, he actually dropped out of his race.
Oh, did he?
He did.
I didn't even hear that.
He announced it on Facebook maybe a month ago or 2. I forget why.
That's why I didn't hear about it. I'm never on FB.
And on Twitter, he announced it as well.
Man. Man, that's too bad. Although I can understand. I mean, when you don't ever have media interviewing you, and you're never included in the polls, doesn't really give them much of a chance, unfortunately.
Montana's got two amendments on the ballot this year.
Montana, you said? Let's look at Montana.
Yeah.
Montana. Protects data from unreasonable search and seizure. Oh wow, they hardly have any reporting.
Yeah. Oh, it's very early.
It's very early. Requires what? That's a really weird one.
I suppose, if people who want that voted up, yes, if someone's so poor they can't have anything done for their kids because they got no insurance, if it's like a 5-minute-old baby, are we gonna punish it because their parents are poor and can't afford anything? That's what I think the idea behind that is.
Nuts. So I'm gonna be right back. So while I'm gone, I'm gonna play a video. You guys stay on and wait. I'll be back in a couple minutes. If you don't mind staying on and waiting a couple minutes.
No, I'm good. And No, I don't mind.
Are you both good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, so I'm going to play a video of Nancy Pelosi telling people she has to clean the room, and the people asking her tough questions have to leave.
Wait a minute, I want a woman. Gender equality here. Maybe I don't, let's see.
Abby Martin with the Empire Files. Speaker Pelosi, you just presided over a large increase in the Pentagon budget. This Pentagon budget is already massive. The Pentagon is a larger polluter than 140 countries combined. How can we seriously talk about net zero if there is this bipartisan consensus to constantly expand this large contributor to climate change, which is exempt from these conferences? Military is exempt from climate talks.
Well, I just want to use an example if I can. You know, the sea level rise is an important part of, what's happening to the climate. And I am not a defense person, but I've had so many talks with the Defense Department, with the Navy in particular, about how they have to respond to what's going on. So I really do think that there is no reason why what we're putting together, with Build Back Better and other things can't respond to the Defense Department and have the same impact in terms of reducing emissions. And I do think that the Defense Department is very much aware of the fact that they have to play a major role, both from a strategic as well as, for the good of the world. So I don't see what we're doing in any way or, increasing the defense budget as being something that's inconsistent with climate action. I really don't.
And may I just add that the national security advisors all tell us that the climate crisis is a national security matter. It is, of course, a health matter for our children, the water they drink, the air they breathe, etc. It is a jobs issue between clean technologies being the future of our workforce and the training for all of that. It is a national security issue because of the all of the conditions that climate crisis produces. I won't go into all of them, but they are cause for migration, conflict over habitat and resources, and again, a security challenge globally. And then the fourth, of course, the moral issue that we need to pass on this planet to future generations in a responsible way. Now, recognizing what you said, we recognize that as well. And a big user of fuel. There have been many initiatives over time, more successful with more technology, to convert from fossil fuel to other sources of fuel to run the military, because it would make the biggest difference. Transportation, defense, these are two of the biggest, that can make the biggest difference in all of that, and that is something we're very, very focused on. As I say, the Defense Department sees this systemically, that we have to stop it as a national security issue, and one way to do that is to stop our dependence on fossil fuels, which exacerbate the climate crisis. With that, I thank you all for being here. Unfortunately, they're telling us they have to clean the room. I didn't know about that.
They had to clean the room.
Yeah, we should go way to go away from that question.
She didn't know about the, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it's a very legitimate question. The U.S. military might be the biggest polluter in the world, and if the Democrats want to do a Green New Deal or reduce emissions, we have to look at everything, and we can't just ignore what the military does.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I'm going to be back one more time, so I'm going to play one more video, and then we're going to look at some more ballot measures.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility.
The news site Deadspin recently produced a mashup video that went viral and unsettled many Americans.
Plaguing our country.
It exposed how America's largest broadcaster forced its local anchors to read an Orwellian script. The Sinclair Broadcasting Group demanded its local anchors recite the same lines, demonizing media and sowing distrust, with warnings like this.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
What's worse, if you actually watch Sinclair's programming, you'll see they violate almost everything they warn against.
So far, no hearings on the big uranium deal.
That's right. That's a Sinclair host promoting the debunked conspiracy theory that Hillary Clinton gave away 20% of America's uranium to Russia.
That could involve kickbacks to the Clinton Foundation.
Oh, and here's another segment alluding to the baseless conspiracy theory that a Democratic staffer was murdered for leaking party emails to WikiLeaks.
There's a theory Democratic National Committee emails were given to WikiLeaks by a DNC whistleblower who was later gunned down. Maybe it was him. Maybe it was the Russians.
And what about this warning?
Some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda.
Personal bias? Well, Sinclair actually has an entire syndicated segment that does exactly that. The host is a former Trump media advisor. Local Sinclair stations are forced to broadcast his pieces multiple times a week. Predictably, they almost always defend Trump.
Facts show that our country is fine, and it is heading in the right direction.
And this third warning from Sinclair.
We are concerned about the troubling trend of irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
Sinclair even dedicated a segment to the existence of a secretive deep state, void of any evidence.
It's a term President Trump tweeted about earlier this year.
The main source, another former Trump advisor, Sebastian Gorka.
Talking at the highest levels of U.S. government.
The main facts, a public opinion poll. The only skepticism offered in the 2-minute piece were these 6 seconds.
Some critics call the deep state a conspiracy theory peddled by Republicans hoping to undermine the FBI.
Clearly, Sinclair doesn't practice what they preach. Large corporations with partisan agendas should not be broadcasting into 72% of American households under the guise of local news. That's why federal regulators must stop Sinclair's purchase of Tribune Media.
Pay attention to the story here, and maybe at Fox, and maybe on Breitbart, and maybe in the U.S. Senate, but you won't hear it anywhere else. So you know where to look.
Okay. So we're back, and we're going to be looking at some more ballot measures. And we're also going to take a look and see where the House and Senate are, and let's look at the governor's races. We haven't looked at those in a while.
Okay.
So the governor's races are 19-11. Republicans lost 2, and the Democrats flipped. Vermont is going red still, which is kind of interesting to me to see Bernie's home state go red. I really wasn't expecting that.
Well, weren't they always red? Like, he's sort of like the outliner in that, isn't he?
Well, not really. They usually have. Well, that's a good. Let's look at last couple. I'm gonna look. Last Vermont. That's a good question that you raised. No, they had Peter Schmollen, who was a Democrat from 2011 to 2017. They had Jim Douglas, who was a Republican. Howard Dean, who was a Democrat from 91 to 2000. They seem to go back and forth between Democrats and Republicans. But Vermont actually has a Vermont Progressive Party, which is a third party within their state that was formed when Bernie was the mayor of Burlington, Vermont, which took over some of their city councils and some local seats. They even had a lieutenant governor who was running for governor last time around, who lost, but they even got a lieutenant governor. So that third party gained power in that state. Bernie, of course, never supported them publicly, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Well,
Colorado's third district might end up flipping.
Colorado's third. Let's look at Colorado. You said Colorado?
Yes.
Where is Colorado?
Above,
right under
New
Wyoming.
Mexico.
CO. Colorado, you're talking about the House, right?
Yes.
0 out of 8 seats called. Oh, okay. So you're saying the 8th, you said the 3rd district?
Yes.
Adam Frisch?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, they're only at 64% reporting, but it's it's very close. So this could go either way.
Because I know for sure that the district over there and people in that district are actually shown to be sick and tired of Lauren Boebert.
Mm-hmm.
And during the debate, she spoke nonstop about Nancy Pelosi, which led to Aaron Frisch literally had to remind her that she's not debating Nancy Pelosi, she's debating Adam Frisch.
Yeah, sorry guys, I had something come up. I gotta take off.
Okay, I'll see you later.
Yep, thanks for having me on.
All right, bye, Josh. Right, so yeah,
and they do have some ballot measures.
Do they have ballot measures in
Colorado? Yes.
Let's look at ballot measures. I think we were looking at them earlier. Some is they have like 8. Let's see. Allows delivery of alcoholic beverages. Yes, 100%. Wow. They have 100% agreement on delivering alcohol. And they have 100% agreement on allowing grocery stores and other stores to sell wine.
I mean, who doesn't love wine and alcohol?
Yes, exactly. I mean, I agree with it. Let's go ahead and do that. Raises taxes to where's that one? Sets aside state revenue for affordable housing 100%. Everybody is voting yes on all their ballot measures, it seems. Raises taxes to support school to cover those with income under $300,000 with proceeds of finance from meal programs. Okay, so legalizes psychedelic plants and fungi for adults age 21 and older. That's a good one. That's more split. I would vote yes on that personally.
Why would you eat mushrooms?
I didn't say I would eat them. I just think they should be legal.
Oh, never mind. Carry on.
I think it causes more harm than good when drugs are illegal, because then you have the black market get involved, gang violence, etc. When you legalize drugs, except for the ones that can kill you, on the spot, think about this. When you legalize them, now they're regulated. Now we can find. Now the magic mushrooms are safer for the people who are going to eat them, because the people who are going to eat them are going to do it whether they're legal or whether they're illegal. Now, when they're legal, they're safer and they're cheaper, regulated, and it takes away the gang's grip on selling those psychedelics. So, why wouldn't we want to legalize them?
I actually got no thoughts on thoughts on that. I was just asking a question. And we got some. I got some results in the U.S. Virgin Islands, the gubernatorial election.
We don't have something for that, unfortunately. But what do you got?
Incumbent governor Albert Bryan has won his re-election with 55% of the vote.
Okay. Oh, exactly, James. Criminalizing drug use makes money for the military industrial, not the military, I'm sorry, the prison industrial complex and other things. But okay, so we have the Virgin Islands governor winning. Don't know too much about the Virgin Islands governor. Let's see what else we got here.
You look at the ballot initiative in New Mexico.
What in New Mexico? Oh, they're getting all 100%. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to play another video. We may have another guest joining us soon, and we're going to be right back. See if you could find some more results to share with the audience. While we're talking, we're going to look at Princess Blanding in 2020. I think it, or 2021. Being...
We must get to the wide area that cause these continuously rising crimes in our neighborhood. It's absolutely ridiculous, and I am the only candidate that represents the fight seriously for the working class. And that's the new spirit at the end of it, and you can get out of my street. Thank you. You can get out of my street.
She's on the ballot.
We will end the
ballot
pipeline. I will defend our trans students. You are touching me, and you might want to get up off of me. Thank you. You can call me what you want, but the reality of it is, I'm educated, and I have to travel from Middle Peninsula all the way up to Alexandria because people are not paid professional wages. That's a 3.5-hour drive is what I had to do. Again, I will fight for working class Virginia. You must want to get off of me. You are now assaulting me. Get off of me. You are assaulting me. Do not touch me. Again, I'm on the ballot. Why am I not on the stage? Why am I not on the stage? Glenn, you said that I have the right to be up on the stage. Why aren't you fighting to be up on the stage? This is not democracy. It is censorship. It is racist is what it is.
And Joe's back.
I'm back.
Hi, Joe.
Hey. How you doing, Bernard?
Very good. Just got some results. Oklahoma just reelected Kevin Stitt. Stitt, the incumbent. Let's see now.
Good.
The Pence. I already got the results. I somehow got results saying that Josh Shapiro won Pennsylvania, but it hasn't been actually declared yet.
Some of these races, they're like crazy. Yeah, how you doing, James? Yes. Hawaiian shirt, Hawaiian life. Going for the Banana Republic look. The only thing that's missing is this entire, chest full of medals, Let's see what we got. Okay, so let's see. Right now it is 10:30 Eastern time. We're watching a lot of the eastern states, finally come up off the backside. They got some things going on. What else have we got happening East Coast as far as those elections go?
Well, let's see now. Well, for starter, there's. Sorry, I'm still fighting on a cough. Just Rhode Island just reelected just like the Daniel McKee. Their ballot initiative. There are three ballot initiatives, from which question 1 authorizes bond for the University of Rhode Island. Ballot 2 authorized bonds for public school facilities, and 3 authorized bonds for environmental and recreation programs. They're all going to the approve.
Oh, and that's good. Right. Okay, so it's like one of the things we talked about. How many states are in the process of legalizing medical marijuana? Okay, we have 10 of them right now. They have some sort of marijuana legislation on the ballot, including some that even want to go so far as to make it constitutional.
Here's our map.
Yes.
Oh, this is where it's legal now. Okay. No.
Right. That's current status.
But it also has up for vote. Yeah.
Yeah, we got 5 that are up for a vote right now. Well, 5 with recreational up for a vote. That wasn't what I wanted to do. This was the one I wanted. Yeah. And now we step back and we take a look at it and go, how many states are running anti-slavery bills?
That's
right. What the?
Louisiana wants to keep their slavery.
Right? 54% of the state voted in favor of slavery in Louisiana. Hey.
Everything I can.
Why? Why Louisiana? Why?
Let's see where that's at now. Maybe they've improved.
Yeah.
No. Oh, they've improved. Now it's 61%.
In favor?
In favor. 3%. It's 3% down.
2 in 3 Louisiana voters support slavery.
What the hell?
Guys. How much did the prison lobby spend in Louisiana fighting this initiative, fighting this legislation? Because that's ridiculous.
It's very ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay, the 13th Amendment, I get it. I understand why they went with the 13th Amendment. They had to repackage slavery so they could still use cheap labor and, nonviolent criminals to keep doing the work. Yeah, I know, James. I know. Stop being sarcastic about that. We know half the U.S. still believes, yes, yuck. No. Yeah, anyway. Okay. Election results 2022. What did we tell you about the Dems versus GOP in the Senate? Right now it's coming, 40-40. There's only 20 seats left, 19 seats left.
Vermont 88 wants to ban slavery, so they're better.
There's a ballot initiative in Utah
for slavery.
No, it says
What's the Utah one?
Set limits on special legislative sessions.
Yeah, we were talking about that one earlier, Denard. Idaho's got one too for special sessions.
Well, this is to limit spending.
Yeah.
On special sessions, it's a little different. Cap appropriations from 1% to 5% of the previous fiscal year's budget, exempts federal funds received for fiscal, public health, or other emergencies, and they're only a 1% reporting.
Man, that's crazy. Okay.
Do we want to look at the Senate and House races?
Well, Senate's it's still split 40-40. The GOP's doing gangbusters on the House right now. Of course, we're still waiting for some of those districts to come in. But yeah, 55-98 right now does not bode well for Pelosi.
Then Oregon has a slavery ballot.
Does it?
Oregon has one.
That does not surprise me, and it's honestly about time that they did that. The reason why is because back in 1870, right after the before they purchased the Northwest Territories, before the U.S. claimed the Northwest Territories, the Northwest Territories was supposed to be white flight paradise. Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. It was supposed to be illegal to be a minority in the Northwest Territories, which means if you weren't white, they got together the militia and threw you out of the Pacific Northwest. So Oregon, like Washington and Idaho, we actually had codes that would prevent the sale or ownership of land by minorities in the state. Really sort of a bizarre concept of what was going on. But so Oregon, where the hell do they start with 111? Ban slavery as a criminal punishment. So yeah, a lot of this is going after the standard set by the 13th Amendment of the United States. The amendment that was actually passed and ratified before the Emancipation Proclamation made it to that little town in Texas on June 19th. So before the Emancipation Proclamation had even made it to all of the communities, the entirety of the United States had already ratified government slavery via the 13th Amendment. I mean, just bizarre.
But the 13th Amendment also had a loophole, basically saying it's illegal or except as a use as punishment for a crime.
Yeah. And, well, that was it. But the thing is it didn't say what had to be a crime, which is why all of a sudden post Civil War, you ended up with an awful lot of crimes that criminalized you for being black, which put you in prison and into peonage. So all it did was make slavery a state institution rather than a private institution or a publicly owned institution. So all the Jim Crow laws, that were putting people in prison simply because they weren't white. Gun ownership laws that made it illegal to carry a gun while black. These were things that were going on, post Civil War. During the the Restoration. What was it they called that?
The Great Restoration?
Or? No, there was something they called the era of Southern
the Reconstruction.
Reconstruction. Yeah,
that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, during Southern Reconstruction, all of these Jim Crow laws and other things basically made it made it illegal to be a minority in the United States so that they can put you on the chain gang. Yeah, okay. No, that's still 56 to 98. They're not doing quite what they were expecting.
Summer Lee, progressive Summer Lee just won her seat.
Which one?
Summer Lee.
Summer Lee. Okay. Now you said she's a progressive. We'll see if she's a fighter or if she's just like all the other progressives who won their seats.
AIPAC literally dumped billions of dollars into not only into her primary opponent, but then they spend billions of dollars trying to keep her from winning a seat, winning her congressional seat.
Sometimes they fear the paper tigers.
The paper tigers, right? Man, how many
like
paper
AOC.
tigers were out there this time? Okay, so we are still. Where are we here? We're still 12 minutes away from them releasing the Idaho results, or at least the start of the Idaho results. The counts in Idaho where it's favored for me. Denard, what's your state?
The state of Maryland.
Maryland.
Yeah, we just elected. It's just been the results came in. Chris Van Hollen won his re-election. Wes Moore has also defeated Dan Cox, will become the first African American governor in Maryland's history, and the second African American to be elected. And we just legalized recreational marijuana.
Well,
sounds like
55% reporting.
No, that's not bad. That's not bad. Sounds like Maryland's got the lead for freedom, at least social freedoms.
We try to keep up with the times.
Yes. It's important we let people be themselves. You're
renaming your appeals court. Now, how do you?
We decided just name. Let's just keep up with the rest of the states and just name it the Supreme Court. I mean, calling it the Court of the.
You changed the name from the Supreme. Let me read this measure. Amends the Maryland Constitution to rename the Maryland Court of Appeals as the Supreme Court of Maryland, and renames the Maryland Court of Special Appeals the Appellate Court of Maryland. So you renamed two courts.
Yes. Make it sound simple.
Do you support that one, Denard?
I didn't really care. I just voted yes.
You're supposed to care.
We're just renaming it. It's not like it's going to make a difference.
It still does the same thing. It still puts people in prison. It still rules against the people. It still rules for the state. Yeah,
you could call it the
makes more rules for them to rule on.
Mm-hmm. You could call them whatever you want. You could call them the blueberry bush. They're still going to send people to prison.
No, keep them in prison is more like it.
Yeah,
it is an appeals court. I went to prison. I didn't want to go to prison. No, you're still going to go to prison.
Yeah. Chris Van Hollen
wins. Technicality.
Now, okay, they're at 55% reporting, but they've called the race. Does that must mean there's no way for the other guy to catch up?
Well, in a way, Maryland is a very solid blue state. So they really deemed a solid blue state. So they basically thought that he's already the winner. They did the same thing. They did the same thing for Massachusetts.
Now, what happens if Chris Van Hollen loses after they've called the race for him? That could still happen. In theory, you're not like.
Well, in theory, it could, but that's one of the things that they've done with the whole probability thing on elections and races. The pre-polls, who's registered is a Republican, Democrat, Libertarian. Who's expected to poll how much of a result, what the expectations are, And as far as the probability and odds go, you know, the newscasters right now, the political casters right now, have a better grasp on political racers than bookies do in Las Vegas. Mainly because I think most of the bookies in Las Vegas got into, you know, doing political races, you know, because they are literally counting on these, you know, by the moment.
You got 2 counties in Idaho, it looks like.
No, we got 2 congressional districts. So we have two congressmen run it, you know, Congressional District 1 and Congressional District 2. We have 35 legislative districts, so that's going to be our 35 legislators, well, our 70 legislators and our 35 state senate.
And your upper senate.
Yeah, we got our senate race. We got Mike Crapo, Sierra Law, and David Roth. Now, that's going to be interesting. I think now this one's going to be interesting. Mike Crapo's probably going to pull this one with his 54%, 53%. And David Roth's going to pull his standard 35% for the Democrat for the Senate race.
Now, what about the other 3 independents or libertarian?
Well, and Scott Cleveland's kind of, you know, doesn't know that much. Sierra Law, he's a perpetual candidate. And for that matter, so is Ray Ritz. You know, Sierra Law and Ray Ritz are Idaho political standards.
Okay.
And if there is a election, they are in it. And that's been the case for Sierra Law and Ray Ritz for close to 12 years now. You know, every year, every 2 years on the dot, they're running for a state seat. On odd years, they're running for a, you know, city seat. You know, they're perpetual candidates. They never get more than 3%, but they run every other year for that federal seat. Now, and Sierra Law is interesting. He's one of our climate activists. He's actually downwinder. He fights largely uranium and plutonium poisoning. You know, the idea that near our some of our older, this is one of those things that's interesting, some of our older nuclear plants. Idaho was one of the first states to have a nuclear-powered city, Arco, the nuclear city. Anyway, a lot of nuclear waste disposal has occurred in Idaho, and he's one of those that spends a significant amount of time bringing awareness to that here in the state. And Ray Ritz is constitutionalist. He's been one of the pro-life candidates for, you know, since forever, 20 years now that he's, you know, just the perpetual candidates. They're always running, always there, and they will never see more than 5% collectively. As for Scott Cleveland, wild card, he's new on the scene. Don't know where he stands as an independent. He's able to find money, and he's able to throw a lot of money at his campaign for an independent without party backing. You know, Ray Ritz and Sierra Law, you know, they run on a wing and a prayer. So this is going to be interesting. Yeah, James, I know, too much democracy for you. You know, all this voting is violence, folks. Voting is violence. That said, you got to vote in self-defense. You got to vote to protect yourself because everybody else is voting against you.
And you got a governor's race going on too.
Yes, we do. And this one's another interesting one.
5 candidates again.
5 candidates.
But didn't your in the Republican primary, didn't the lieutenant governor literally campaign against the incoming governor?
Yes, she did, and she lost badly. Governor Brad Little in the primary won 55% of the vote, and Janice McGeehan, who is his lieutenant governor, who is running against him, came in with 20%. Yeah, James, it's about money. We all know it's about money. It's about how much money you can throw at your campaign. You know, and Brad Little was able to throw a lot of money at his campaign. The only one that was able to throw an equitable amount of resources at their campaign was Ammon Bundy. How many of you remember Ammon, folks? How many of you remember Ammon Bundy? Bureau of Land Management standoff in Nevada. Bureau of Land Management came in to take his dad's cattle, and him and his brothers and a whole entourage sat there and all got themselves arrested for putting federal agents in gun sites. James, we don't use that word here. This is America. We do not do democracy in America. It is a kleptocracy. It is an oligarchy. It is
idiocracy.
So many other things.
Did you say idiocracy?
Yes. Idiocracy. Yep.
That works.
Right now, the Imperial March.
Hi, Johnny.
No, Lauren Boebert. Yep. I'm assuming that's by 5%, not my 5%.
She's losing your 5%, Johnny. Okay.
But yeah, so after
if she actually loses, and it will most likely be a voting out of sheer disgust of Lauren Boebert, and there's a lot of reasons to be absolutely disgusted of her.
There are, but that also does that mean if you put a ham sandwich there, that ham sandwich would have beaten Lauren Boebert? How good is the candidate that's gonna get in there?
Well, he's a conservative. He's a conservative Democrat. So basically, another Joe Manchin Democrat,
or
and
another Joe Biden Democrat.
Other than that, most people will vote for him because he's not Lauren Boebert.
I'll vote for a conservative Democrat that could pass for a Republican if it means Boebert doesn't get elected. Fair enough. I got you. And that's one of the interesting things about the Idaho thing going on right now. Ammon Bundy is so far left that we actually have an awful lot of Democrats considering voting for the Republican Brad Little simply because Brad's a centrist and closer to being a Democrat than, two of the other candidates. It's bizarre.
Brad Little?
Brad Little, yes.
He's more centrist.
The governor of Idaho. What was that?
He's more centrist?
He is a centrist, yes.
But he's a Republican.
Yes.
They're right. They're center right and they're center left.
Okay. Now, one of the things nobody gets about Brad Little is a businessman. He's always been a businessman. Okay. Now, his business happens to be ranching. Now, he's the political wing of the Little family, and he happens to be extremely wealthy. The reason why he's wealthy is because Idaho enjoys a lot of agricultural subsidies in the state. Brad Little employs more accountants than he does farm labor because his accountants get him all of those federal subsidies so that he doesn't actually have to pay farm workers to raise crops. Yeah, if you ever follow that. Anyway, now Brad Little is a centrist. He is a pro-corporate centrist.
Yeah, we have those.
As much a friend as the Democrats as he is to the Republicans.
We have those in both parties.
We do. They are pro-corporate centrists, and whether they are Democrat or whether they are Republican, their emphasis is on the money. Mm-hmm. On the money. Yes, James. On the money. It's about the money. Right? It's about the money. It's not about the voting.
Gavin Newsom just won. It's just been announced that Gavin Newsom won.
Blah. I mean, well, not that I like
California even counted a vote yet.
Hold on.
They didn't even count it. It's already been announced.
What do you mean? No, let's pull up California.
Gotta pull up California.
Also, they've called Idaho for Brad Little. What?
Brad Little was going to win. I don't even know why anybody even thought anything different.
Well, but none of the votes have been counted, and they're calling races.
Well, no, the votes have been counted. Everything in southern Idaho has been counted, which is where 90% of the population is in Idaho.
And
so
Mike
Canyon County and eastern Idaho represent 2/3 of the vote.
And they called it for Mike Crapo for Senate.
And they called it for Alex Padilla.
They have not called any of the Idaho House races. Who are we saying in California?
Yeah, in California, Gavin. But it's already been announced that Governor California, Governor Gavin Newsom and Senator Alex Padilla won.
But yeah, no, Idaho's actually got a pretty well-rounded out election system. Yeah, most of this, the odds, none of these are going to be a surprise. They're fully expected. The only thing that'll be a surprise is the details and how much the counts are off.
Well, we can check their ballot initiatives.
Whose ballot initiatives?
California's.
Does California have any ballot initiatives?
Yeah, ballot measures. Yeah, they do.
Ballot measures. Okay. Oh, they do. Adds the right of abortion to the contraceptive use to the state constitution. Allows Native American tribes to offer sports betting on tribal lands.
Okay.
That's an interesting one. Now, why not just give a ballot measure to let the Native Americans do whatever they want on their tribal lands?
Because most of what we have is freaking stolen.
Yes. Regulate staffing of kidney dialysis clinics. That's a weird one. Increases spending on art programs in schools. I like arts programs in schools. Imposes a tax to support the purchase of electric vehicles. I'm not even sure how that would work. Add an additional 1.75 tax on individual income over $2 million, which proceeds going towards incentives for electric vehicles and charging infrastructure and wildfire prevention. Uphold state law barring the sale of flavored tobacco. I'm kind of weird. I don't know how I feel about that one. That's kind of a weird one. You want to get rid of flavored tobacco because it's kind of enticing the kids, but you also don't want to get rid of flavored tobacco because that kind of imposes on freedom. So it's kind of a weird issue. I've never really taken a stance on flavored tobacco personally myself.
Yeah, this one's, oh man.
They just started counting ballots in Oregon.
In Oregon? Let's go to Oregon.
That says a three-way race.
Three-way race?
Yeah.
For what?
For governor.
Chris Harry, the Progressive Party. That's right. Oregon has a Progressive Party. I forgot about the Oregon Progressive Party.
I didn't even know they had a Progressive Party.
And then they have Pacific Green Party. Now, what's going to happen here is Chris Henry and Dan Pijalou are going to split their vote. I'm assuming.
Yes, James. Flavored tobacco is freedom.
What's interesting about Oregon's gubernatorial candidacy? There's three candidates running for governor. Tina Kotek, Republican. Tina is a Democrat. Republican Christine Drazen and Independent Betsy Johnson. And many actually worried that Democrats, many centrist or moderate Democrats are backing Betsy to basically helping siphon centrist votes away from Tina.
I don't even see Betsy Johnson listed on the Google thing.
You didn't see her?
No, I see Ron Wyden.
I think you're looking at the Senate candidate.
Am I looking at the Senate? Hold on. I knew there was something off because Ron Wyden's a senator. Here we go. No, there's 5 candidates.
I think those are the three main candidates are Tina, Christine, and Betsy. Those are basically the 3 main candidates.
Well, the Libertarian and Constitution candidates are going to split their votes, it looks like, in half, literally in half. They're 0.8%. That probably happens a lot.
You're going to have to give Leon some crap. He let the Constitution Party candidate beat him.
Wow.
What's with that?
Yeah.
So strange. They're not really showing races for Attorney General or Secretaries of State.
What I find interesting about Oregon is in the governor's race, we have a Constitution and Libertarian Party candidate. And then when we go over to Senate, we have a Progressive Party and Green Party candidate, which is kind of interesting. What happened to Joe? No. Did we lose you?
Yeah, I dropped out. I hit the refresh button on the wrong screen.
I was saying the interesting thing is in Oregon, in the governor's race, we have a Constitution and Libertarian candidate. And in the Senate race, we have a Green and Progressive Party candidate.
Yeah, that's... Hey, Amberly, welcome. Yeah, we're here.
It seems like the third parties have kind of decided to divide and conquer, although they could have divided and conquered 4 ways instead of 2 ways.
Well, and thing is, that's always been the problem with the third parties is none of the third parties are even close enough to be, and for their general area, their big tent, but at the same time, there's not enough similarities between their ideals, their ideologies, to really be sizable.
Mm-hmm.
All they managed to do is, we could open the Overton window. We talk about that a lot. What is the real issue with regards to liberty, with regards to constitutional limitations, with regards to, the other things. Ammon Bundy's up to 5%. That's, not bad for Eastern Idaho. It's not his base. It'll be interesting to see how that trends as the North opens up.
So weird. I don't really see. They don't even show races for secretaries of state or attorney generals.
Because those are generally low key, and a lot of them, they didn't put near as much analysis into those because it's still the governor who largely guides, what's going on, and it's the Senate races, it's the House races, the federal races. Yeah. Oh, we got another update. Whoa, maybe Crapo didn't win.
You think? This is why I don't like them calling races super without any.
Boise just released, and Scott Cleveland is at 5.5. David Roth is at 50%, and Mike Crapo is at 30.5. So, they may have let that go just a little too early.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Maybe we'll dump an incumbent tonight.
Maybe. It'd be interesting to see David Roth win because he'd be the first openly gay candidate in the state of Idaho to win a Senate race. Which is ironic. Yeah, well, even with the new Wyhee County just got added. Mike's up a little bit. Not enough to beat Roth out yet.
Mark Kelly of Arizona might end up win big.
Interested to see Tiffany Smiley house Patty Murray in Washington State. Amber's in Washington, if you didn't notice. Yeah.
I swear to God, if Dr. Oz end up becoming a senator, I am going to end up leaving this country.
Don't be saying stuff like that because weirder things have happened, man.
Fetterman had a big lead, didn't he? At least I thought he did.
Yeah, he did.
Does he not anymore?
No, it's kind of shrunk because it's shrunk because that's mostly because he hasn't really debated him. They debated Dr. Oz and
he did debate him when after he had the stroke.
Yeah, and the debate didn't really go well as people thought.
Oh wow, that is a small lead. Oh, look at that! They got that's a party I've never seen before. The Keystone Party.
Don't worry about it. That's the party that fractured off of the Libertarian Party.
Really?
You know, a lot of the Keystone Party of Pennsylvania candidates and activists were former libertarians.
That's interesting. And then we got Eric Gerhard. You interviewed him on the channel.
Yeah.
How's he doing?
Never mind. The tip. Pat Murray just flipped to the Washington's vote. Just flipped to Patty Murray. Murray. Ron Johnson's still obtained a lead, though. Though we have to wait soon until all the votes are in because it might shrink soon.
Let's go look at let's go back to Idaho. Oh, 43. The Senate changed 43 to 41.
Yeah, and that's
not by much.
Yeah.
Oh, Idaho is gone red.
You know, depends on how you count it. I think they're a little bit premature on it.
I think so too. Look at David Roth is seriously beating Mike Crapo by about a 6-point margin.
But that's one of the things with the betting is, you know, that covers Ada County, which is going to be our blue bubble. That's David Roth's one very small area that he stands a chance of taking the lead in. You know, once Ada County is counted, once Boise is counted, you know, just about everything else goes to Mike. Question is how much? Because it's like Boise is like 50% of the state's population.
What is it? Boise, and then there's and Idaho Falls. What's Idaho? That's a lot smaller.
Yeah, Idaho Falls is a lot smaller. If you do the breakdown by the counties, you have about 10 legislative districts in Ada County, 5 legislative districts in Canyon County. There's like 3 over there in Idaho Falls, by Idaho Falls County. So it's a much smaller area.
And Scott Cleveland is actually doing interestingly well.
Well, yeah, he's doing well. The thing is he's sort of, in a lot of ways, like an Ammon Bundy, in that he's an independent, but he's one of those ultra-conservative independents. You know, he actually makes Ray Ritz of the Constitutional Party look positively kind by comparison. But it's like that's what an awful lot of, you know, the Idaho extreme want is they want a hardline restitution process, you know, the kind that makes people, you know, wish for the old school of punishment as opposed to the new form of restitution.
So Idahoans are not so big on restorative justice.
No, we actually aren't, you know, which is a little bit frustrating for those of us who are looking at, you know, decriminalization of nonviolent crimes, being able to open things up. You know, our state simply enjoys too much revenue from keeping people in prison for stupid stuff. And for some reason, we got people willing to keep paying the state to make it happen.
Any ballot initiatives in Washington?
Find out, and that's an interesting question from Johnny. Are there any MAGA DNC candidates this time around?
DNC backed McGah. Where's the McGah? You know, there are. I just can't remember which races they were running in, and I don't know how they're doing right now.
DNC back.
Doug Well, I give you one. Doug Mastriano.
Doug Mastriano? Where's he running?
He's running for governor in the state of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it's about right for Oregon. You got Bend, Eugene, Salem, Portland, Washington. You pretty much got the same distribution. All blue on the I-5 corridor, all red everywhere else.
Well, Doug is losing. Pennsylvania is going to flip. I mean, it's going to be Doug Mastriano is a Republican. The DNC's not backing him. He's a MAGA. I think Johnny was talking about.
No, I'm saying that they paid. They basically made advertisements, basically saying that Doug Mastriano is a Trump-backed candidate. He's a Trump candidate. They basically dumped tons of money into races to basically prop up MAGA candidates.
Basically, to prop up the idea that the entire Republican Party was indeed racist, white supremacists, and all the other hate thing that the Democrat, it's weird that you would actually fund the candidacy of somebody you just object to.
Pennsylvania is kind of split, but a very red.
Well, and that's not surprising because Pennsylvania, you still got Western Pennsylvania, you still got coal country. Pennsylvania has been hit harder than most of the other states with, the COVID and the depression. James, come on, James. Yeah, we know. Funding white supremacy in the U.S., unheard of. We know. Yeah.
House is going to go GOP. I'm calling it now.
Oh, yeah, that's why I'm seeing that weird. Okay, they're still calling Senate hard for Crapo, but the House seems to be split. And whoever was running against Simpson.
Here we go. Fletcher and Norman. You might get one Dem and one Republican
from Simpson. I am impressed.
The 6th district in Maryland may end up flipping.
What is it now?
It's in the 6th district. Republican Neil Parrott has got 52.3, while incumbent David Trump got 47.7, 65% reporting.
Oh shit! God damn it! Go to Idaho.
I'm in Idaho.
Okay,
Which
go
part?
look at District 1. You click down on District 1. Show the pictures of the candidates.
Wait, what?
They used my picture for Darian Drake.
What?
Wow. They used my picture. Wow. I don't even know what to think of that. Wow.
Is that because you were running too at one point? And they just didn't
I was
bother
running. I was running, and I withdrew from the race. And Darian Drake replaced me as this congressional district 1 candidate. Now, the thing is they're still using my picture for Darian Drake.
What? Well, he replaced you, so maybe he's just a stand-in.
Well, yeah.
Stunt double.
Well, and it's weird. There's enough similarities in the way we look, But yeah, wow. Okay, I have no idea how I'm supposed to feel about that. Okay, but Russ, yeah, no surprise there. But Wendy Norman, she's leading Mike Simpson by wow.
There's nobody. So there's nobody challenging from any third party in District 2.
No, there isn't.
Is that average?
Yeah, that's pretty typical. Idaho law or Sierra law will usually run in District 2 for the House seat, but he wanted to go for Senate this time. So he moved out of that. But again, he's another one. He only would have pulled like 1%. Yes, Amber, it actually is. I am much prettier than Darian. Much prettier than Darian. Yeah, and especially the House Congressional District 1, Russ Fulcher, this is going to be his third trip in. No surprise. Yeah, the House is going to go red, Jimmy. I hate to say it's going to go red. With a lot of incumbents still in seats. I mean, you know what's going to happen. Nothing. Or more of the same. Or worse of the same.
Anthony Brown and Anthony Brown just win. I just got an announcement from the state of Maryland. Anthony Brown just will win the Attorney General election.
Well, Kaylee's doing surprisingly well. For that district, she's doing surprisingly well. Yeah. There's an awful lot of people just aren't as happy with status quo as some people thought they were. How are we doing for governor?
Let's go to governor. Brad Little wins, even though okay, so Bundy's got 7%.
I really expected Bundy to pull closer to 15. That's really, I'm rather disappointed.
Well, what percentage are we at reporting wise? We're only at 10% reporting, so he could.
True, and a lot of this is the Boise area, so Brad Little's going to enjoy the Boise area success. Stephen Height's going to enjoy the Boise area success.
Oregon is going to be looks like a very close race.
What do you know about Paul Sand? Paul Sand is a character. He's also over 70 years old, and he's running for governor. And he's one of those. It's an interesting because he's one of those people who would have been diagnosed with autism or being on the spectrum. If they'd actually diagnosed people with that, 60 years ago. Mm-hmm. Just one of those type of characters and personalities. Just it's funny because he doesn't actually have libertarian ideals as much as he has Green Party ideals. But it's like,
the Green Party is basically non-existent in Idaho, right? I mean, there's like
there is no Green Party in Idaho. If you trend green in Idaho, you either go libertarian or you go Democrat, because there's just not enough of the the enemy of my enemy is my friend sort of thing, to pull from either the libertarians or the Democrats to create another party in a state that is so heavily Republican.
So the green-minded people who are third-party minded will go over to the libertarians for the most part.
Yes, and the green-minded people who, are willing to accept the authoritarian of the Idaho Democrats, they'll go that way. Just, but it's the enemy of my enemy is the friend for now. And, green-minded, if you're not turned off by some of the aspects of what's going on inside the Libertarian Party, which a lot of them are, they end up trending towards Democrat. See,
I just got a brief announcement.
Okay.
The Democrats got a first flip.
Nice.
I just got a report.
Where?
In Ohio.
In Ohio.
Ohio flipped a seat. Nice.
That's a purple state.
Yeah, and is in the 13th district, a candidate by the name of Emilia Sykes just has flipped it from red to blue.
You said Ohio. See how Ohio's doing, the purple state. Very red state. The Republicans got 9 seats and the Democrats got 3 so far. Which one are you talking about?
The 13th.
Okay. They could flip that, but it's also very close.
Yeah, I just got the announcement.
Right. Now, what percentage are we at? 96% reporting.
Yes.
So that's probably going to go that way at this point with 96% reporting, I would think. I mean, is there really any room for that to move at this point, do you think?
Could be, but at that point, it's highly unlikely. Likely at that point, anything is going to change. But like you say, it looks like it's going to be close.
Let's go to all states. So the GOP, and now it's 147 to 97 in the House. And the Senate is 41 to 44. There's going to be no majority. I think you said it earlier, Joe, that there's going to be no majority in the Senate.
Yeah, there's going to be no supermajority. You still got the same standstill. You still got the 3 or 4, Democrats and GOP that are willing to flip on specific issues in order to get their pet projects through. So you're going to end up with an awful lot of dead space, coming out of the Senate.
Let's go back to Idaho. I can't find Idaho. Yeah, Idaho looks red on the map.
It looks like Joe Biden's sniffing someone.
Does it? Now I got to go back to the full map. Yes, it did. Scott Cleveland, David, Mike Crapo. Yeah, Mike Crapo could lose. It's
it's close. Yeah, but it's like I said, they know the layout. Mike Crapo is going to pick up in the more red areas once you're outside of Boise.
No, I
am surprised that we're seeing more pink rather than red out of it. But yeah,
it's so weird. And Democrats may end up losing the federal level, but they're showing they're actually doing pretty well in the states.
Yeah, they are doing a lot better in the state level. And I think a lot of that has to do with where people's priorities are. I think we're starting to see the balkanization of America, and people are perfectly happy to put Republicans in federal seats as long as they have Democrats at home. Now that's dangerous in one rules Democrat states, like say California, where it's so heavily Democrat. In order to continue what their situation is, what their problems are, they need to dump the incumbents. They need to dump the Democrats in order to give the Republicans a chance to stabilize. That is assuming they do that with newfound power. Yeah, James, the balkanization of America, it's a reality. It's going to happen. We just need to accept that what is, what it is. The question is how hard does the balkanization hit?
It seems like Idaho Falls is a little bit more blue than Boise. Am I accurate about that? Yeah.
Well, no, you aren't. Reason why is because these are two different sides of the state. You got Congressional District 1 and Congressional District 2. Yeah, mouse back over Montana and see what it looks. Yeah. You see it now, don't you? Anyway, okay. So that District 2 actually this District 2, actually covers part of Boise. It covers the most liberal part of Boise. So when it ended up here with Idaho Falls and Boise's, you ended up with two of our blue pockets in eastern Idaho. And this is ironic because eastern Idaho actually enjoys a very conservative population of LDS, of Mormons, religious population in eastern Idaho that looks like they've decided to turn blue.
Could be, but with 21, there's only 21 reports, so it could flip. But I'm trying to keep that optimism.
Let's see how. Yeah, it flipped right before our eyes.
Yes, it did.
Now, who's the incumbent? Is it?
Mike Simpson's the incumbent.
Okay.
So Mike Simpson and Russ Fulcher are the incumbents, and they're likely to take it again.
And how long have they been there?
Mike Simpson. Oh, geez, you're actually going to make me do some research here. Mike Simpson's a career politician. He's been involved in things forever. He's been representative of Idaho since 1999 when he was appointed. So he was appointed in 1999. And he's been sitting in that seat ever since. 23 years.
And he was appointed
and they just gave him 2 more.
Okay. Why was he appointed? Was there some kind of... Is that how you fill a vacancy in an Idaho Congress?
Yeah. House of Representatives.
You don't do a special election.
No, I'm pretty sure House of Representatives can be appointed.
Okay.
And the thing is I don't remember whether the appointment is by election in the House or whether it's by gubernatorial appointment.
Because I know some states, like when Nina Turner was running, she was running special election in, I think it's Ohio.
Yeah.
But because they didn't do an appointment, that's kind of weird. I guess every state does it a little different.
One of the houses requires that the person filling the seat be elected. I don't know whether that's the Senate or the House, though, whether it's required of a special election in order to fill the seats.
We're only at 9%. We're at 22%. But we're only at 9% reporting for one of the districts and 22 for the other. Very interesting.
It's close. It's gonna go red though.
You think? Would you be shocked if it went blue?
I would be, honestly.
Let's see. How's your ballot measures going?
Looks like 85% approved of the weird question that has no effect whatsoever since there's no law attached to it.
Which one is that? The rebate?
Yeah, that's the tax rebate one. That's sort of BS. It was a BS question that they asked. It was ridiculous. I never should have.
Advisory question.
Yeah, what's the advisory question. How do you want us to vote on these things? Not that we'll ever listen to you, but if we did, what would you tell us? Yeah.
Pretending like they care about
SPR 102. Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, that's only 3% reporting on the.
Oh. Yeah. Now, what is your take on this? Do you think the legislature should be able to call itself into special session, or do you think the governor should have to do that?
The governor should have to do that. Reason why is because the governor doesn't actually have the emergency powers he thinks he has. We allowed him to exercise a number of those during this last COVID session, mainly because he wasn't overbearing with his emergency powers. That said, there were an awful lot of people in the extreme right that thought he was extremely overbearing with his powers, which is why they want this. They want the ability to call themselves back into session so that they can censure the governor if he does something they don't like. So ultimately what they want to do here is they want to change the balance on the scales, the whole checks and balances. They want to change the checks and balances around so that the legislature has a heavier hand in governance than the governor does by allowing, it's just petty court intrigue. It's really kind of BS.
It is. In some states, our legislators are around all year round. I know in New York, where I used to be, we have our legislature around all year.
Yeah, and there are some states that, it's 365 legislative posturing, BS.
They don't do much, though, honestly. I mean, they sit there and they talk and talk and talk, but they really don't pass a lot of legislation throughout the year. Just a lot of talk.
Josh Shapiro has been it's been projected the winner.
Where?
In Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. For House?
Governor.
Sorry, somebody. Okay, so House is changing. GOP's taking the House. I'm telling you.
I think it's already. I think people already know that.
Yeah, nobody's surprised over that, really. Not when it comes down to it. We honestly expected the Republicans to take the House.
Do you think they're going to take the Senate too, though?
Well, the Senate's a tougher one because you can only change a third of it at a time. And thing is the third that was up for election this time around were all pretty solid, in their party. So I wouldn't have expected the Senate to make any significant changes.
But it looks like it might.
Well, 41 to 44, it could still go. We'll see. There's not too many more races left to finish. You got 85. You got 15 more races.
Yeah. 15 more.
Tim Walz has been declared the winner.
Okay. Delaware has no election. Oh, for Senate. Okay.
And for Senate, pay attention. Pay attention, Shane.
I thought that was showing me the whole map. Let's see. Nevada has no results reporting yet for Congress. Let's see how my old home state of New York is doing. George Santa.
Okay, Hammond Bundy's starting to pick up. He's up to 8.9 now. Paul Sands pulling a 1%. That's not bad. Shanty Rose is making a decent showing for a female Constitution Party. I like that.
That's for the governors. Okay, let's go to the governor. Oh, yeah. Bundy is picking up a little bit, but not crazy.
Well, Bundy's northern Idaho. He's going to be Kootenai County. He's going to be up north. He's going to be that area. Is going to be big for him. But if he doesn't make a good showing in Boise, he's just not going to make a good showing.
We have no third-party candidates running for governor of New York. Well, that's a shock to me, believe it or not.
Well, they busted their ass to make sure that Larry Sharpe stayed off the ticket.
They did, and Howie Hawkins is doing a write-in campaign for lieutenant governor this time around. It's kind of weird.
Why? Why does anybody ever do a write-in campaign?
Well, you have to have a plan B when a major party tries to kick you off the ballot.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
Does New York have any ballot measures? Let's see. Yes, to authorize bonds for climate change mitigation products.
Nice. 72% in favor. Wow.
Wow.
That's a dangerous one.
Let's see how our Senate. Chuck Schumer is going to take it, of course. We're never getting rid of that guy.
God report that Maggie Hassan is projected the winner.
I'm sick of Chuck Schumer.
Who isn't?
Yeah. Yeah. I really would have liked Joe Pignon to have done better against Schumer.
And Diane Snare she's not even running with a party, and she got 44,000 votes. That's not bad.
Well, I mean, that just goes to show how many people are so disappointed with the major parties that they're willing to vote anybody else. And did she even run? Did she put any energy into her campaign?
No. None of the people I know in New York, and I was there for years, knew that she was running.
Yeah, it's like, wait, there's somebody I don't know on the ballot. Let's vote for him.
Right? Yeah, that's what they're doing. But no,
I don't see Liana West. I don't see Liana West in Arizona.
Liana West in Arizona?
Yeah, I don't see Liana West.
Where was she running?
She's running as a Green Party candidate, and she's running as a Green Party candidate for governor.
Maybe they kicked her off the ballot. Sometimes they do it last minute.
You say in Arizona?
Yeah, she's off the ballot.
Yeah, you got Mark Victor. He's not doing too bad, but no, Mark Victor dropped out.
Did he? Then why are people
from the race, and he's still getting 2.3%? No, Mark Victor dropped out and he endorsed Blake Masters. And Blake Masters is still losing to Mark Kelly.
Yeah, he's gonna be losing by a huge margin.
Let's see how my
Utah is going to be an interesting. Evan McMullen. Yeah. Evan McMullen running unaffiliated in Utah. He's actually.
I will be actually surprised if he won Utah.
Well, Evan McMullen's interesting because he actually ran for president as a late entry unaffiliated candidate, and he only had ballot access in like 5 states, and he pulled like 10% of Utah.
There's my district, District 3, New Jersey. We got.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that, Shane.
That's okay. Who did I? Nobody. This guy's apparently been here forever. He's not going to go anywhere. I already knew that.
Yeah.
I mean, the locals all love him for whatever reason.
Right? Always that.
They said, oh, well, what is the thing they say about him? His constituency director is very nice.
Interesting way to put it.
That's what they like about him, is his constituency director.
Okay, so special legislative session in the state of Idaho is, no is leading.
Any updates in Kansas and besides
Kansas? We haven't heard about Kansas in a while. What's going on in Kansas?
Where'd it go?
Well, I just got. Well, Laura Kelly is still in the lead with 88% reporting.
Kansas is going red.
That's Senate.
Well,
except for Kansas City.
Most of the flyover country is going to go red. That was never in doubt.
I think that's the Senate. I was talking about the governorship.
Oh, you're talking about the governorship. Let's go over there. And I'm not surprised that Kansas City would be a lot more liberal. Governor.
I never understand, why is there two Kansas cities? There's one in Kansas or one in Missouri. I never get that.
There's a whole bunch of things like that. You got a libertarian
one
running.
Kansas City is on one side of the river, and one side of Kansas City is on the other side of the river.
Hey, Joe, we got your libertarian in Kansas.
Seth. Be interesting to see. I don't think some of the libertarian candidates are going to do as well, as they were hoping to.
I know there was I think in 2020 they had a really a big wave in Pennsylvania and took some local elections. Was that 2020? Maybe that was 2018. I'm not sure. Ballot measures in Kansas. That's
not bad.
People are rejecting that one.
Yeah, Robert Imhoff's doing a decent job. Well, he's running against Grow. That was going to happen. That's a two-way race.
A dead candidate in Minnesota, too, has 3,500 votes. What? Okay.
Wow.
Johnny, is that the district that you ran in? I know he ran in one of the districts. Minnesota. People voting for the dead.
Yeah.
No, not your district. There was something I saw on Twitter the other day where somebody voted for, or today, this morning, where somebody voted for the ghost of Eugene Debs. MNO1, Minnesota 1. Yeah. Joe, I was just saying, Joe, how somebody earlier today, I saw somebody put up a tweet where they were voting for the ghost of Eugene Debs. And they wrote him in.
Thing is the ghost of Eugene Debs, if somebody actually ran a campaign for him, would probably do pretty damn well in some places.
That's true. Eugene Debs was actually pretty popular.
Yes, and someone DM me saying I wrote in the ghost of Martin Luther King Jr. for the state of Maryland, for Senate.
So that's an interesting ballot initiative in Kansas. They want to have the election of county sheriffs. So right now, I guess they might be getting appointed.
Yeah, the sheriffs are mostly appointed there.
So the people are saying they want to have a say in who their sheriff is. I don't think that's crazy. Go back to Idaho. Idaho is pink right now.
Yeah, and that's just because it's a lot closer than a lot of people were expecting. It'll redden up here in a little bit.
Kaylee Peterson is getting annihilated.
Yeah, well, she wasn't exactly in the best situation to be running for that seat. She lacked the experience that she needed and the name recognition, and she didn't do anything during the early stages of the campaign. Yeah, she's just in the wrong district.
Oh, that's interesting. So Johnny's saying in Minnesota, people would rather vote for a dead person over a Democrat or Republican.
I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, hasn't that actually occurred before? You know, a candidate dies and he still wins.
What do they do in that case? I'm wondering.
Well, what ends up happening is, depending on what the seat is and what the requirements for filling it are, you know, usually the party gets together and nominates a couple people, and the governor appoints from those that are selected.
Very democratic.
Yeah, just anything but, actually. But, you know. Ammon Bundy's up to 10%. I really need to get out of Idaho elections here for a bit.
Yeah. Where should we visit?
Yeah, that's one of those things I'm disappointed in. I honestly was hoping to see more, you know, of the territorial elections.
Nevada still is not reporting anything.
JD Vance wins.
You said territorial, like where?
Guam, Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico.
Are they having their elections as well now?
Yeah, Guam actually led the way. Started off with first openly gay legislative.
Guam seat flips blue to red and elects their first.
The Guam representative was never allowed to vote in Congress anyway.
They get a House delegate. That's right. And they've elected their first Republican since '93. Let's look at Puerto Rico.
There's a Republican.
Well, if I remember right, Puerto Rico does a jungle presidential primary. They have that weird thing there, and what's his name in 2020 won. Marco Rubio won that. What was Johnny saying about Paula? Who's Paula?
Paula was one of the candidates.
Remember that?
No, James. I'm Tuesdays and Thursdays now, so I'll be back Thursday evening. Thursdays, 7 p.m. Mountain, 9 Eastern. It's like tonight. You know, I started out at 7 tonight, 9 Eastern. Gonna move to Tuesdays. Denard, say hi, Denard. As long as you're here, Denard. Denard is actually taking over my Wednesday slot, and he's also picking up a Monday and a Friday as well. You know, so Denard is doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I got Tuesdays and Thursdays. Denard's doing 8 Eastern, and I'm doing 9 Eastern. So that's what the time chart's going to be looking like here, starting next week. You know, you'll see me again on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you doing a call out? You asking for more call outs here, Shane?
What? Oh, I didn't even know I posted that.
You posted it. You sent everybody an invitation saying, "Hey, come on, let's talk about politics, man. Let's talk about the election."
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Who's the new archon on the block?
Is there anybody on Twitch right now? Yeah, we got one viewer on Twitch.
Well, I'm not seeing anyone from the Twitch. Pennsylvania Senate race. Sherry wants to know about the Pennsylvania Senate race.
The Pennsylvania Senate race.
That was actually been called.
It's still pretty close. It hasn't been called yet.
You said Senate, Pennsylvania. I think she's talking about the Fetterman.
Yeah, the Fetterman versus Oz.
Versus
Gearing. That's so gross. That is just so gross.
Did anyone else see the video of Dr. Oz talking about how you have to taste urine in medical school?
No.
No,
he says that you have to taste the different types of urine and then describes how a diabetic woman's urine tastes like a fancy wine, but depending on what you've eaten first.
Okay. Yeah. Really?
He's a weird. And then we had a number of doctors come out and say that you don't taste urine in medical school.
No, you don't. That's hazing. It's hazing. He had a professor who hazed him, and he thought everybody did that. That's dumb. Jesus. Yeah, right, Amber. You got it, Amber.
Yes.
Fraternity hate. That's what happened to Oz. He was hazed. And he thought everybody does it.
And now he talks about how he does it all the time.
Oh, God. No, just no. I mean, if you're going to do it, just admit you got the kink, okay? Admit you got the kink and roll. Stop trying to make it some sort of professional association. No, you got a kink, Oz. You got a kink. Just live with it. Stop trying to make it into something else.
Let's see. Do they have any ballot measures in PA?
I think so.
Yes, they. No ballot measures. The House is going red in PA and blue. Oh, they have a lot of. Oh, they have a lot of House seats. 3 House seats in PA. Therefore, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. They have 17 House seats in PA.
Yep.
Yes, Dr. Oz.
There are certain ones that are definitively red.
Yes. Dr. Oz seems like a fun guy. Is one way to put it.
Yeah.
Oh, Libertarians winning the third in the governor's race in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Matt Hackenberg, he's stepping up. Christina Solosky.
So, what is the key difference between the if you know off the top end between the Keystone Party of Pennsylvania and the Libertarian Party? What was the split off? What was like the thing that made it split off?
The split up happened to do with the Mises Caucus approach to libertarianism, which in a lot of ways was late Rothbard rather than early Rothbard, and it was hyper-authoritarian, it was bordertarian, and in a lot of ways, a lot of the Mises Caucus associated with particularly Pennsylvania was very much in favor of the defense of the unborn. In other words, forced birth legislation. And an awful lot of people that had been longtime members of the Libertarian Party when they realized that this rogue element was going to take over and take all of the things that they believed in and tell them it no longer mattered. They went, no, it still matters, and you guys can do this on your own. You're not going to get our help trashing our philosophy. So it's basically the people who believe more in liberty, more of the libertarian principles as they existed, in 2000 and, 1990s, and even into the 2010s. A lot of those libertarians, they made the shift over and they basically said, you know what, we're not fighting you for it. You guys have it. Do with it what you're going to do. It's going to be easier for us to start from scratch than on fuck what you guys do with, the party. So that's basically what it is the keystone is the original Libertarian Party, whereas the Libertarian Party is now the, social conservative, fiscally, whatever, wing.
Sure.
Yeah, interesting. Definitely messed some stuff up.
Spanberger won over Vegas in a house race here in VA that was a heavily contested race.
Spanberger survived?
Survived?
Yeah, the poll shows that it was either neck and neck or her opponent was going to win.
Oh, I thought you meant like they were dying. Okay.
Georgia, Herschel Walker. He's pink.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah, it's very close. But look like Warnock is actually gaining again, though it might end up going to a runoff, which that's what I feared.
We got Shane. Interesting. Chase Oliver will actually be able to say, "Hey, I kept them both under 50%."
Shane is running for governor in Georgia as a libertarian.
Yeah, I knew Shane Hazel was making that run.
26,000 votes, not bad.
Yeah, it's still under 1%. This is going to be interesting. The third parties didn't make the showing.
If Lauren Boebert actually loses, I am grabbing the champagne.
Oh, Georgia's got some referendum.
That's one of the things that Johnny brought up is the idea of, if you lose a Boebert but you gain a Herschel Walker, did you really win?
Well, you won in the sense that you got rid of. You can start celebrating in the fact that you got rid of Lauren Boebert, and then you can start crying because you got Herschel Walker.
Well, well, that's one of the things. Neither Walker nor Warnock are incumbents. I think this is an inaugural run for both of them, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, look at this. They've called it for the ballot measure that we were praising earlier. It halts pay for indicted state executive office holders and lawmakers.
Yes.
Glad that
one won.
Yeah.
That's a good one to win.
Yes. How are the other measures doing? Oh,
Then Georgia also had a ballot on slavery or marijuana or something.
No, they have a
yeah, okay. So Warnock is the incumbent.
Warnock is an incumbent, yeah.
Yeah.
He won in 2020, I believe, or
2020.
Yeah, short seat.
It was only, and I'm going to be honest, Raphael Warnock is a very weak candidate. Is a very weak candidate. The only reason he won in 2020 was because the incumbent at the time, Kelly Loeffler, was a crook and was caught literally trading stocks during the early stages of the pandemic.
Marjorie Taylor Greene is coming in strong.
Oh gosh. Super crazy. You can't get rid of super crazy.
She belongs on YouTube. If anything. A lot of these Congress people belong on YouTube instead.
And this is one of these things I wonder about. Who is it? Why do some of these people enjoy, the success? I mean, there is no reason why Marjorie Taylor Greene should have won her primary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
well, the thing about Marjorie Taylor Greene is she's a personality that could easily be a podcaster, on the modern internet podcasting, and that people like that about her, I think. Maybe she belongs on YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know. She's just so crazy. She grabs your attention.
She does.
Where are we at? Governor Stacey Abrams is gonna lose again, but she's a millionaire now, so she'll be okay.
Right?
I can't believe everybody was calling her a progressive in 2000 and what was it?
18.
Was it 2018 where everybody was saying Stacey Abrams is an uber progressive candidate?
Yeah.
And she's kind of shown herself to not really be super progressive in the years following that election.
Well, and here's one of the things that an awful lot of people really don't understand is they come out, they want big change because they get caught in their circles. Their circles saying, we need to change this, we need to change that, we need to change the other. And they come out on the campaign trail with all of these extremely radical ideas. Okay. Now, the problem with radical ideas is radical ideas come with unintended consequences.
Mm-hmm.
And the voter base in America, it doesn't matter. The young are a little more risky. They have time to risk. But middle age are committed to the status quo. And of course, the folks that are on the way out, they created the status quo. So they got a commitment to it. You can't come out with radical ideas and expect a following that's going to let you win. You need to be able to promise change that's still gradual enough that people can adjust to it and adapt to it. You come in with this shock and awe as far as political values and political change. Everybody sort of starts, wondering what's going on. Like here in the state of Idaho, one of the problems that we have here with the whole shock and awe thing is, we were very used to the status quo as far as what the Supreme Court had made the entirety of the United States stand by. And then all of a sudden, overnight, we completely changed. What used to be a state that chose life is now a state that mandates life. And you can see the attitude shift with regards to reproductive rights overnight. It's one of the reasons why it's still so pink in the state of Idaho, despite it being an extremely red state, is because the Republicans came in and they wanted to change too much. They wanted to create, that shock and awe change. And even our conservatives are saying, no, conservative values are slow change. And you change too much too fast. So we're seeing an awful lot of pink in these races that were formerly considered to be strongly red.
Yeah.
Mike Crapo is going to win. He's going to pull his 50%. It's not the win, he was expecting. Russ Fulcher is going to pull his 50%. Yeah. It's still a safely red state. It's just not as red as people thought it was, especially in relationship to the party we have.
But that's the other thing you get to see, like with Stacey Abrams, when the candidates don't win, you get to see them throughout the years doing other stuff. You get to learn a little bit more about them that they were able to hide while they were running for office.
Oh, yeah.
And kind of get to see that they're not, most of the time, sometimes they'll surprise you when they won't be who you thought they were when they were running for office. And that's probably a majority of the time.
Brings up one of the points here. Kamala effect. She's not as popular with her own base, and she blames people around her for not being electable. You know, yep.
Hillary.
Yep.
I'm surprised. You know, in the next midterm, well, not midterm, but in the 2024 elections, we may see Christine Pelosi and Chelsea Clinton on the ballot.
Oh, God.
The dynasty candidates.
We don't need any more of that.
But we'll get it.
Just got several announced. Actually got two election calls. Because it's just got Kansas Governor Laura Kelly. It's projected the winner. And Lauren Boebert lost her congressional seat.
Okay, good. Now we can celebrate that Lauren Boebert lost and cry that we got Herschel Walker.
I'll get the champagne and tears ready.
Hopefully Joe will be back here soon. If anyone wants to call in, you guys can call in.
He didn't have no other competition.
So no doubt, there's no doubt that in Georgia, there's going to be a runoff between Herschel Walker and Raphael Warnock, right?
Yeah.
Oh God. That's why I got the tequila ready. I'm ready to. I'm actually surprised. Democrats are actually doing well in the state level, especially Katie Hobbs in Arizona, where she never even debated with Carrie Lake at all. I'll be surprised if she won.
Yeah.
I can see you going to be here all night, so I'm not going to
Okay, I'm back. Looks like I'm going to have to call it, guys. My power is not playing as nicely with me today as I thought. And we've already been playing this game for 3 hours, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we started at 7 my time, 9 your time. It's after.
Okay, so it's after midnight on the East Coast. Joe was about to say. Joe, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. It's after midnight. Calling in night. Love you, Sherry. Love you. Remember, folks, family, friends, community. Long as you got those three, you can make anything happen. Denard, you want to hang out and talk to the guys a little bit longer? No, but 3 hours, I got to be up at 7 tomorrow morning. Got to go do the morning shift. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you. We appreciate it. Same with you, Amberly.
I think we should end
you guys
here.
Good?
Yeah.
We're all out. Say goodnight, Shane.
Good night, everybody.
Say goodnight, Denard.
Good night.
Peace, folks.
You want to play the outro?
You play the outro. It doesn't want to play nice with you right now.